And find this piece of paper we gave you yesterday. You know, it was interesting. Last night I was thinking, you know, I really need to tell them exactly what's included. So, do you see, I made a list right here. Same thing I had here. I thought it was important before. I still thought it was important. Okay, now look at your paper and find the symbol action game section, which is left-hand side toward the bottom. So this tells you the different steps involved in symbol action games. In lesson 1 to 3, they're just doing 2 actions, 1, 2, whatever it is. And they're 2 different actions. In lessons 4 and 5, they're doing 2 actions, but they're the same 2 actions, like, and you're trying to get them to be able to hear the difference between 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1. So when you're in each one, you're doing it, and they're doing it with you, and then you try to trick them by saying, is this the right way? Is this the right way? No, let's do it the right way. So that's what you're doing every time. So first we have 2 actions the same, which is harder because you're having to recognize there's only 2 things. And then lesson 6 through 7, you get 3 items in sequence. And they're not necessarily, they start with different items, 3 different things, but then they may go to 2 of the same and 1 different one. In lesson 8 through 11, you have 2 tasks. You're going to do 2 different things. First, we're going to teach this symbol action, and then you're going to say, now here is a new one, not the same one. So you're trying to you don't want them to remember what you just finished. We're starting a new game now. They call it a game. And they're teaching 2 words that's very important in this. First we do this, then we do this. So you're teaching them those 2 words. What do we do first? And then what do we do? This. And they're copying you just like they did before. And that takes at lessons 8 through 11. And then you get through 12 through 17, which is what we looked at yesterday, where you're going to follow the arrow, and you're teaching them to follow the arrow, and they're reading across the row. So you're following the arrow and you're reading the picture on the row. Now there's nothing to read, but they're doing what the picture shows, whether it's touching their mouth or opening their mouth. I hate opening their mouth, but that's one of the things. Or sometimes they touch their head, or I forgot what all they do. Touch their nose. So they're following the picture and reading the picture. So you're introducing them to the right to left progression, going straight in order, and this is the way that we're reading the pictures. We're following the arrow. And they start with 3 pictures, I think, and then they go to 4 or 5, and then by the end of the last one, they have a whole bunch of little pictures in there. And they're so little, you might not be able to see them from where they're sitting, because they are very little pictures. They're easier if you're looking at the book than when you're looking at the whole thing.
So,
in fact, I don't even have this. Well, I guess this one is the last one. See how little this is when you're trying to see what they're doing here?
Yeah.
It's real hard. So make sure that you've colored what they're supposed to do with your red so they can see it better. Or you might even talk about what the pictures show.
So if we're not starting this until October, when would we start? Would we start the phonetic one, the one that you gave us?
Reading roadmap?
Yes. Would we start that at the same time, or would we just start that when we start school?
You start that when you probably are not going to start it for 3 weeks. let's be practical. You've got teach them how to go to the bathroom, how to push their chair under the table, how to get a rug, there's so many how-tos that you're not going to get anything else done probably for the first month, would you say? 3 weeks?
3 weeks, so that's an issue.
Yeah.
3 weeks, so.
Depends on the age of the class, but after a few weeks of school, probably 3, might be 2, might be 4, depending on them. When the whole class has followed the rules and is able to sit and come to circle or do what they're supposed to do, then I would start reading roadmap.
Okay.
You can't start it the first day of school. You got too many other things to do. I mean, the first day you're trying to, well, you've got to have circle. You have to do all the things you're supposed to do.
It's like the rules of our classroom.
But there's so many other things. And plus, I don't know, a lot of kids have been here, but if you have new kids, you're going to have a crying child. And you're going to have maybe an accident. And you don't know what's going to happen the first week of school. Once you get past the first or the second week of school, things calm down a little. But those first few days are hectic. And there's never enough time to get everything done, let me tell you. So a lot of things take longer than you think, so things have to be shortened, and you have to say, well, we've got to get on to this, or we need to really finish this, so I'm going to have to shorten circle time, or we'll have to bathroom time to an hour, or, you have to make adjustments. So I would say the reading roadmap probably could wait for at least 3 to 4 weeks till you're ready to do it. By this time, they know how to come to circle, they know how to sit, they know how to work a little bit on their rug, they know how to work on a table. And then I probably would not start this right away either. I would probably wait till about the 3rd or 4th week.
Okay.
Because there's so many other things you want them to do.
That's true.
Too many things. They have too many things to learn. And sometimes we don't realize how little the children really know.
And it's kind of tricky because you're coming off of a full year with kids. For about the end of the year, you've gotten them all trained. Then you go into summer where it gets a little bit tricky in the beginning, but by the end of summer, you kind of got those kids in a routine. And then you're expecting these kids walking in new to have that same routine.
And they don't.
And they don't, yeah.
They're new. And even if they've been here before,
Yeah,
it's
still
a new
different.
classroom.
Yeah.
It's a new teacher. Even if they've seen you, it's not like they're really have a relationship with you. It takes a while to establish that, and it doesn't matter. It's better as they get older, but it's still hard. By the time they get in kindergarten, they're a little better about it. And first grade is fine unless you have a child that's brand new to the school, and then that's very difficult for them too. Yeah. Especially if they've never left home before. Which,
Yeah.
And one thing about that 3-year-old, a lot of parents, that's when they usually is ready to send their kids to school.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't have a ton of cars last year. I had one, but no, it was actually.
Chloe cried.
Chloe did not cry today.
Oh, maybe in breakfast when she read it one time.
Yeah, she did not. Chloe, I started telling Chloe, when did your mom
By
come
the time
back?
you got to school, she was up. That
Yeah,
morning when
I
she
got to
walked in.
school at 7:30.
Oh, you can't get it because you have to come home.
No, Troy, Christian took her actually. But I would tell her, when does your mom come back? And I'd say, Chloe, when does your mom come back? She would go, after nap time. I'd say, can you be patient? I can be patient. And then she would stop and she'd complain. Yeah.
But for every child, it's different.
Yeah.
And for every child. All right, so let's pick a rhyming page to do. Let's not do the picture pages. Let's do number 7.
On rhyming,
No,
simple action.
symbol action. Let's do
Hang on.
number 7.
You remember Daniel?
Daniel.
He was the one who spoke with Bulgarian.
So I couldn't even communicate with him. His sister on the school side.
Oh, yes.
And he cried on sword.
Well, yeah, because his mother,
And we just, I could never communicate with him.
school, and she coddled him. He was
Exactly.
not ready for school. His mother was not ready for him.
No, I was just about to say that his mother was.
His mother was
We had to get her ready first and then get him.
And then she was like, and he's going to kindergarten, but I'm doing it. And I was like, did they come back last year?
No.
Chloe, that was his sister.
Oh, Evan, yeah, no, they didn't come back.
Root beer, root beer.
Root beer, sorry. That's what I meant.
Oh, thank you.
That's what I meant, root beer.
Something to drink anyway. Okay, is everybody ready for number 7? Okay, and you do it with me.
All right.
And you're going to say everything too. Are you ready? Everybody look at me. I see John's looking and Mary's looking. Good job. All right. Now watch.
You're not doing it, you're watching.
Watch again.
Watch.
And let's do it one more time. I did it the right way. Now, let's see if you can do it with me. Are you ready? Let's do it again. We did it the right way. One more time. We did it the right way. Good. Let's see if you can do it the right way. Ready? Go. Good. Let's see if Miss Pierre can do it the right way. Let's do it the right way. Are you ready? Miss Pierre, let's all do it the right way. You ready? First we're going to do then, and then we do. Good, we got it. Everybody, one more time. Yay, we all did it the right way. I'm trying to think. Scala.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. I cheated. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, Miss Scala, you do it the right way. Yay, she did it the right way. Let's all do it the right way. And you notice every time somebody does it the right way, we all do it the right way again. And then we go to a new game. So now we're going to do another one. Everybody look. We're going to do a new one this time, so you have to really think.
This is still on set.
No, it's not. This is trying to fool them, isn't it? I tell you, I haven't done it in a long time.
They don't know, so you do a new game anyway.
Why? They won't care.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, everybody look at me. Is this the right way?
No.
Let's do it the right way.
Thank you.
Good, we did it the right way. Is this the right way? Let's do it the right way. So you're trying to trick them by seeing if they're paying attention to all parts of what you're doing. And if you're smarter than me and you've read your homework, you would know what you're doing. And if it were my book, what I do is circle or the words that I'm supposed to be doing so I can just look down there and see that word. Otherwise, you've got 100 words right there and you can't find the word you want to use. So that's why these get marked up. So they're helpful for you. And if you have a brand new copy, they're not marked up yet. All right, so let's look at, we've done rhyme, symbol, action. So let's go to say it fast. And Miss Pierre, do you have your own old book with the words written on the back?
I do.
I'm about to say, yeah, mine should, but you can have that. You don't have
Okay.
to. But I have it.
I'm pretty sure the rest of these are not.
Not all of the pages have it, only like half of the book has a picture.
Okay, and a lot of these page stories, you're reading something that's on there, but they're looking at the picture. And you can't try to read it and show the picture at the same time. It's very difficult. So I made all this with words that are on the back page for what they're looking at on the front page. So after you've done the first one, then it says, I see dollars. And they can see, they're looking at the picture here. So you can say it fast, dollars. And I can see 5 pennies. Say it fast, pennies. Good. What did we see? Dollars and pennies. And then you're supposed to give them turns. Then the next part, you're looking at your book right here, and you're reading your book, and then you turn the page, and you're talking about the picture, so the words are on the back. So first, they have to listen to see what the picture's going to be about. Then you turn the page, and you're asking them questions about the picture, which again, you have to be able to see. Now, this only goes for like the first 10 lessons or so. Well, here it is for 9. And here is, once you get to 10, hallelujah, you are so happy. Because when you get to 10, you get to read this story yourself, and then you turn the page and they see the picture. And you don't have to do 4 pictures on one story and keep doing the back. So once you get to that part, you don't have to keep trying to read the back and put the words on the back. Because this story here goes with this picture here. So let's look at number 11 in your book. And somewhere I had all these things typed up that go on the back of your pages.
I used to have a page for labels, but I don't know what happened to it. So I'm getting
So you don't have it.
check eagle.
So
I don't have the.
the master that I made that you
No, I
had
don't
to
have
cut
it.
apart.
I thought I had it. I had it once upon a time. I remember having it, but I don't know how to.
Well,
I have new labels that you made, lessons 31 through 40.
did I make master labels for that?
Yes, you did.
What did I make? Oh my, I did, didn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's the picture version.
And I think what you did in my book is you cut up the labels, you put them as part of the lesson itself, not for the back of the page.
Okay. Well, whatever I did, I'm sure it was a good plan.
I'm sure it was.
Don't remember it, but I'm sure it was a good plan.
It's for turns. It's to give the kids turns.
Oh,
You change the words.
okay. I don't remember that.
You change
You might have to
reflect
fix that.
to reflect the lesson.
Okay, so let's look at number 10. Are we ready?
Number 10.
10 or 11.
Oh. Okay, 11. And you all need to be reading it like you're the teacher here. You've got to practice this. I can't say this enough.
So we are reading it with you?
You're going to read it with me.
Okay.
You have to practice. If you don't practice ahead of time, you'll be like I am up here, not knowing what you're doing and what page you're on or anything else. Okay, are we ready? Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Now make sure you put a long pause in there. Try that again. Bark. This dog, oh, say it fast.
Bark.
The dog barked very loud. Say it fast. Loud. He barked so loud, he woke up the baby. Say it fast. Baby. Mother said, you must keep that dog quiet. Say it fast. Quiet. Johnny tried, but his dog still made a lot of noise. Say it fast. Noise. One day a robber came near their house. Say it fast. House. Guess what the dog did to that robber? I'll show you a picture as soon as you tell me these words. So now, noise. Say it fast. Noise. Toys. Say it fast. Toys. Boys. Say it fast.
Boys.
Joys. Say it fast. Joys. What do you, and then here comes the hard part. What are you going to see in the picture? Because now they've got to remember what the story was about. And that is hard. Because by the time they've done these words, they've forgotten the story. So some people will say, but some of them don't know what a robber is.
I have a question. Whenever we're doing these again, like how noise is boys. When we do like boys, would it be like that short boys, or would it be boys?
You're blending it all
Put
together.
it all together.
We're blending it all together. If you separate them, there's a word that says pause, and that means stop.
Yeah.
Other than that, you blend it all together. And you've got to get your finger going so they know when to answer, or else you'll have this one answering when you're halfway through, and this one saying at the end, what are we doing here? So let's try it again and using your finger. And remember, when you want them to say it, that's when your finger comes down and like you're saying, you're ready for them to say it. Okay, let's try again. And make sure there's a long enough pause before you say the word so they start to listen to what you're saying. This is Texas calling. I get more Texas callings and I don't know what they are. Hello? Uh-huh. Okay. All right, thank you. Bye. Now I need to call my husband and tell him that. Don't know why they call me, but they do. We're having the pest control guys come today.
I wore it in the 80s. Can I borrow it while we sit here?
Hello?
Hi, the pest control people said they're about 15 minutes away.
And I think the one I have on,
All right.
I think is probably at my house.
All right, bye.
Do what? It's
I
really
haven't
kept
kept
up with it. I bought it my senior year.
All right, so let's get back to what we were doing. Before you start the word, you're going to have a pause. And when it says pause between the sounds you're saying, it needs to be a pause because other than that, if you're not completely closing your mouth, then the sound sort of keeps going because you ready? Johnny had a dog. Oh, let's go. Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Say it fast. Bark. Everybody's hand needs to be up. Can't keep it in your lap. Let's try it again. Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Say it fast. Bark. The dog barked very loud. Say it fast. Loud. He barked so loud, he woke up the baby. Say it fast. Baby. Mother said, "You must keep that dog quiet." Say it fast. Quiet. One day a robber, I skipped a row. Johnny tried, but his dog still made a lot of noise. Say it fast. Noise. One day a robber came near their house. Say it fast. House. Guess what the dog did to the robber? I'll show you the picture as soon as you tell me these words. All right, now some of us are doing,
I have a question. So like on that last one, mine says pause where it says how. Yeah, that says pause too.
That
It
says
says
things to be corrected.
say it fast. Oh, so you just say how, so you don't say how, because it's the only one that does that.
To be corrected, you shorten it out. That's like when you don't get it, then you put the whole word together.
so you're starting with separating the sounds. Ow. But what if they don't get it? What if they just say ouse, which is typical because they heard that part of it. Then you say, let's try it again. Listen, house. Say it fast. House.
Okay.
If they still don't get it, you blend the whole word together. House. Say it fast. House.
Okay.
So you start separate, you put two sounds together, and if that doesn't work, you add all three. But you're doing it, you start with what you are aiming for, but in order to help them hear it, you start by blending one of the sounds together or the other sound together, depending on, usually it's that first sound. When you separate it, they lose it.
Especially if it's not
A common one. I mean, an H is a hard
that's a
one.
hard one. Because I believe if it's the,
That's a hard one too.
think so?
I think that's good. Sorry.
Really?
Because you say it so fast.
Yeah, it's short. I think is easier. Yeah. Because they can remember that one better than they can the others. All right, and when you bring your hand down, if your hand is right here the whole time, what are they looking at? They're looking at your hand. They're not thinking about their ears. So you keep your hand down here until you're actually ready to do the say it fast. So let's try one more time. Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Say it fast. Bark. This dog barked very loud. Say it fast. Loud. He barked so loud, he woke up the baby. Say it fast. Baby. Mother said, you must keep that dog quiet. Say it fast. Quiet. Johnny tried, but his dog still made a lot of noise. Say it fast. Noise. One day, a robber came near their say it fast, house. Guess what the dog did to the robber? I'll show you the picture as soon as you tell me these words. So notice that all these words are joined together. They don't have any pauses in these words. But they're trying to get the Z sound on the S. All right. That was much better. Now, I want you to watch, well, I just say a couple of these. And you're going to be the children now. You're not going to do it. Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Say it fast.
Bark.
The dog barked very loud. Say it fast.
Loud.
Now, watch again. Johnny had a dog that liked to bark. Say it fast.
Bark.
The dog barked very loud. Say it fast. Loud. What was the difference in those two things?
You separated this just loud, and you said it all together. You were looking at it.
I was looking at my book the first time. And when I'm looking at my book, what do you think we're doing out here?
Playing.
You're,
Playing.
yeah,
Moving around.
with their fingers, with their neighbor, with their whatever. You got to glance at the book, see that sentence, and then say that sentence. Don't read it. And that's why it's helpful to have practiced these the day before so that you know what you're going to say. It's not like it's long. It's not long. All right, so let's say we've done those words. So now we're going to say, and what are you going to see in this picture?
A robber and a dog.
Some will remember, but robber is a hard one for them to remember, don't you think?
Yeah, a robber.
And
Or they might say a bad guy, because we don't say a robber. They'll say a bad guy.
And here you see him. Here's the robber, and there's the dog. He was barking loudly, wasn't he? And the robber, oh, he looks surprised, doesn't he? He's very surprised. All right. Now, and that's all. Do you see how you went from being able to read the whole story and then see the picture? And it makes it so much easier when you have 3 or 4 pictures to do. All right, so we'll put up Say It Fast. And we've done symbol action games. Let's do rhyming. Well, I forgot something. Look at down here on your Say It Fast page to see how they're doing it. On lessons 1 through 10, there's a lot of pages with a lot of pictures, and you have to say it while the class is looking at the picture, so the words are on the back, hopefully. And lesson 9, to correct, you are going to, if you put pauses in to correct, you stretch the whole word out and don't put the pauses in. And this is true even if you're doing it helping an individual child. If they don't get it when you've got it separated, stretch it together and then have them try it, and then go back to the separated way. Lesson 11 through 40, each lesson is on 1 page. When they first start with this Say It Fast, they're doing compound words like bread basket or ice cream. And then it goes to big syllables and then little syllables. Then they go to 1-syllable words They separate the last sound, the first sound, and then eventually you're going to get to where each sound in the word is separate. So that makes it really hard. So at the end, you're going k, ra, and then you have to say it fast. When you separate every single sound, your brain is having to remember the sound, hold it together, blend it in your mind to the next sound and the next sound, and it's hard. And that's what they're asking them to do in the warm-ups, but without any training. So this is training to help them do it in the warm-ups. It's like a step, a crutch that we're working on to help them. And if they don't get it in the warm-ups, this is what you can do to help them get it in the warm-ups. Because one of the things they're doing is at, I think on one of the things that they're doing. So if they can't do at when you're doing the warm-up, then do cat. Say it fast. Cat. All right, if they can't get that, do cat. Say it fast. Cat. So this is how it's going to go with what you're doing in the warm-ups. This is helping build the skills. It helps you know what to do to correct a child that's having trouble and can't hear it, because some of them don't hear it. And if you kept separating the sounds forever, they would never get it. So you've got to work on building their skill to add those sounds together in their mind. All right, does that sort of covers what you're doing on the Say It Fast and how it goes with what you'll be doing on the warm-ups.
Do you mind if I say something?
Fine.
So you know, that's what I test on. I test on separating the syllables. I test on separating the first sound to the end. I separate the two letters to the end sound. I know I separate all the letters, and I test on all that for kindergarten.
So you're testing on at and cat, and finally you get to at. Not the same word.
No, not at all the same word.
Not the same word. That would be too easy. Well, first it's all blended together, I think.
The first ones are blended together. And
Yeah.
I can even get kids off the street to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then I do the syllable fast, kid, and they can, usually even the kids off the street can do that too. But it's when we get to the separating the
First sound.
And all three sounds, but that's really hard. They don't, the kids off the street can't do that.
No.
The kids who do this,
Yeah, they should. So it's important that you do this because it helps them when they get to kindergarten. They don't have so much to learn, and they've got a ton to learn as it is. Whole lot more than you and I would want to learn. But that's the same for every grade, every age. They have a lot to learn that year. I mean, the 3-year-old year is a big year, but they're not learning the same things that 4-year-olds are. The 3-year-old year mostly is vocabulary, 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 because there's a lot of words they don't know. And there's still a lot of words they don't know as 4-year-olds. But talking to a 4-year-old, you think they know it, they just really don't. It's because they can talk reasonably by this time and know enough basic words. But the littler words or the bigger words or the harder versions of big, like large or small, those are words that they may not have learned. And like a lot of things, I was ignorant, and I used, think, well, a kid doesn't understand large or small, so we'll say big and little, right? Well, no, you've got to train them to go graduate from big and little to large and small. And if you don't start using that, then they're not going to ever get it. They'll still be going to first grade only knowing big and little. So as they learn the easier words, you're going to bring in the varieties or the harder version of the words or more ways to describe something. So you're building vocabulary all the time. It's very obvious in 3-year-olds that you're building vocabulary because some of them are barely talking in sentences by the time they're 3. And others are a lot more fluent. Depends on if they had anybody at home that actually talked to them.
Or they get step by step into it.
Yeah.
Over the time.
But new kids, some know their parents are good and they talk, and some don't. Maybe they're the youngest child and nobody pays attention to them. Or the oldest and the parent doesn't know what to do. But as a 4-year-old, you assume they are talking and you think they know it. And really in kindergarten, you think they know everything, and they don't. It's always surprising what they haven't,
I explain a lot of these.
the words that they don't know.
Like you said, when we do the multi-sound, we talk a lot about it.
What those words are. And every time you're using a word, you've got to explain what that word means. What if a child doesn't know what a robber is? They may not, right? They don't. So this is a person that comes in and takes something that's not theirs. So would you want somebody to come in your house and take your teddy bear or take your truck or take your whatever? No, you don't. You want them to stay away. And so that's what a robber is. He takes something that's not his. And then if you have a really smart alecky kid, they will say, she robbed me of my toy. That's a little different, but you know, basically, that's what they did.
Choose your longer.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to rhyming. And let's look at the overall plan for rhyming. Rhyming only goes from lesson 6 to 27, so that's only 21 lessons. It's not a long time to do rhyming. The idea is just to be able to hear when words rhyme. And the first lessons start with big words, and they're doing syllables in the word, compound words, and they go to longer words. Let me see what I wrote down over here on rhyming. 6 to 8 compound words, and then 9 to 14 went to 2-syllable words. And when you get to 15 to 27, you're rhyming with short words with just the first sound. So stop sounds are harder. So if you're rhyming with rig and fig, then wig, dig, ig, gig. And I explained that these are sometimes not real words that we're doing. We're just rhyming. So here are the samples of the stop sounds. And they're rhyming like this. Rhyme with rig, fig. Do you see how it's easy to put the with it? But rhyme with rig, and you can't join that to the rest of it. You have to hear that ending sound is ig, rig, wig, dig, kig, gig. And you can say these are not real words. And these are not the ones that are in the book. I just made up some so you could see the stop sounds are much harder to rhyme with than the other sounds. All right, I think all we did here was hamburger the other day. So let's go to lesson 9, I guess. And this is 2 syllables. It's not a compound word like Samburger, Ramburger, Lamburger. And when you ask them to rhyme with it, rhyme with hamburger, ma'am, they'll say ma'am, hamburger, because they're just saying the word that you said and putting the ma'am in the hamburger. So then you have to correct them. And a lot of this is knowing how to correct them. If I said rhyme with hamburger, Samburger, Lamburger, Ramburger, Bamburger, rhyme with hamburger, ma'am, and they say, ma'am, hamburger, then you say, listen, I can do it. I can rhyme with hamburger, ma'am, ma'am burger. This is my turn. When it's your turn, you point to you. When it's their turn, you point to them. So you're trying to get them to know when it's your turn, when it's their turn, or else they're just going to start rhyming. Kids like rhyming. They really enjoy the sounds that it makes. They don't know what they're doing, but they enjoy the rhythm of it. And then on hamburger, we're doing rhyme with hamburger, ram, ramburger. And if they miss it, you have them do it with you. I can rhyme with hamburger, ram, ramburger. Everybody, rhyme with hamburger, ram, ramburger. Rhyme with hamburger, ram, ramburger. First you say ram, and then you add the burger part. Let's do it again. Rhyme with hamburger, ram,
Ramburger.
Good, you got it. Here's another word, rhyme with hamburger, lamb,
Lamburger.
and it might help if you say the first part quietly to yourself, I mean with your mouth moving but no sound, and then the burger, and maybe if they're watching that they may get it that way. Rhyme with hamburger, lamb.
Lamburger.
It takes practice, and it takes practice in teaching it, but you've got to get your hand going. So now let's do number 9. And I'll do it first, and then we'll all do it. I can rhyme with sister. Listen. Blister, fister, twister, mister. Listen again. I can rhyme with sister. Lister, twister, mister, fister. Good, it's your turn. Let's all rhyme with sister. Fist, fister. Let's try it again. Let's rhyme with sister, fist, fister. And this is what you have to do when you're first learning this. Let's rhyme with sister, fist. Now say that what I said, fist, and then add the ter. Fist, ter. Put it together, fister. Rhyme with sister, fist, fister. Rhyme with sister, fist, fister. So, and I was not doing a good job here. Rhyme with sister, fist, fister. Rhyme with sister, miss, mister. Rhyme with sister, twist, twister. So it takes practice and until they catch on. They don't have to get it this lesson. In fact, this same lesson was on 5 or something back there with sister, and then they put the same word in again. But they're doing 2 syllables, and it's not a compound word where they can hear that. All right, so then after they've done these 2 syllable words, which are the easy part, the next one is baseball, that's easy. Mopping. Okay, let's do mopping. I can rhyme with, no, it's hopping. It's lesson 11. I can rhyme with hopping. Listen, mopping, shopping, ropping, stopping. Let's all rhyme with hopping. Shop, shopping. Rhyme with hopping. Mop, mopping. What word was that? Mopping. What does that mean? It means you're going to mop the floor. Sometimes you need to explain to them what it is that this word means, because to them some of these are nonsense words. Here's another word that rhymes with hopping. Stop, stopping. And that's all. But don't you think you would want to go through it again if you were having trouble? I can rhyme with hopping. Listen. Mopping, shopping, ropping, stopping. Rhyme with hopping. Shop, shopping. Rhyme with hopping. Mop, mopping. Rhyme with stop. Stop, stopping. And if they miss it, you're going to say the word and then tell them, add the ing. That's the part that rhymes. What part rhymes? The N sound of the word. That's the part that rhymes. When I say hopping, the end of it says hopping. It says that ing. So that's what makes the word rhyme, the N sound. So
Is the N sound hopping on these?
It sort of is. But really, when you say rhyme with hopping, shop, you're saying shop,
Right.
and all they're adding is
Okay.
ing. And the stop, all you're adding is ing. The whole part, opping, rhymes, yes.
Right.
But they're trying to hear just the end part that rhymes because we're getting to harder ones now. So far, they haven't had you add the vowel sound in there. They're giving you the vowel sound. The next one is rhyme with funny, runny, money, sunny, honey. Rhyme with funny, huh. And now they've got to hear what part rhymes. Knee. You're going to add that knee. Honey. Rhyme with funny, sunny. You're adding the knee right there. So let's do 12 together. I can rhyme with funny. Listen. Runny, money, sunny, honey. Let's all rhyme with funny. Honey. Rhyme with funny. Sunny. Rhyme with funny. Money. And get your hand going. We've got to tell them when to say it, or else you're going to have people saying it at 13 different times, and you won't be able to tell what anybody said. Let's try that again. I can rhyme with funny. Listen. Runny, money, sunny, honey.
Let's all
Rhyme with funny. Honey. Rhyme with funny. Sunny. Rhyme with funny. Money. And we're not saying here is another word, here's another word. That's too many words to add in there. You lose their attention. Just say what you want them to do. Rhyme. Oh, I forgot that part. What word is that? And then you would ask them what word they said, and then what does it mean? Honey, like a bee makes honey. This is a chance to tell them that bees make honey and we eat it. Are there kids that don't know what honey is? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And if you knew you were going to have it and you had a jar of honey at home, I'd bring a little bit and let them taste it at recess or snack time or playground or, so they could see what honey
do a
is.
Bible lesson about that too. Like whenever you do honey and you talk about John the Baptist, how you don't get some
The honey.
That's like a whole thing on it.
Yeah. And they still don't know what honey is.
We'll be eating class.
Then they know.
Yeah.
Well, they've had it. They
Yeah.
may not know, but they know it's something you eat
Yeah,
anyway.
it's sweet.
Yeah. All right. All right. Now let's go to the hard ones. Lesson 15. (15 to 27) are short words with just the first sound given. And they're starting off here by having them rhyme with a word, and they're adding the vowel sound to it. And then they say, we're going to make it harder, and they leave off the vowel sound. So let's look at 15. The first in 15, there's a test to see if they can do the compound words and the two-syllable words. And if the majority of the class can't do it, then don't go on. You have to wait till they can do that. And how many would that be? How many can't do it and you could still go on? 3, yeah. Okay, so we're going to say they could do it. And would you do it all on the same day? Could you give the test and do lesson 15 on the same day? No, you can't. You'd have to give the test sometime during your testing time, and then you'd know if you were ready to go on the next week on lesson 15. And what if you got to lesson 15 in the middle of the week before testing time? Just repeat some of those others. I mean, it won't hurt them all. They won't remember it. All right. Now today we're going to do something that's a little harder. See if you can do this. I can rhyme with sit. Listen. Writ, bit, lit, hit, mit, knit. Now it's your turn. Rhyme with sit. Fit. Let's try it again. Rhyme with sit. Fit. What are we rhyming with? Sit. Rhyme with sit. Fit. First we said s, and then we added the t at the end of it. Here's another one. Rhyme with sit. Lit. Let's do it again. Rhyme with sit. Lit. Rhyme with sit. Hit. Rhyme with sit. Mit. Rhyme with sit. Bit. And then I added one more at the bottom. I don't know if your book has it. Rhyme with sit. Pit. Because it's a nice sound to add right in there. All right. So we're saying the F and the I, the consonant and the vowel, all they're adding is the N sound. Now we're getting to what we really want them to be able to do. And if they can't do it, you go back to the step right above. So let's say now, here's going to be really hard. I bet you can't do this. They always like it when you try to trick them. And they think, you think they can't do it, so they're going to show you they can. Rhyme with sit. And you're going to get a kind of response on this because they don't know exactly what it is, and it's the first time they've heard this, and this is new. So you say, this is what we're doing. Rhyme with sit. We're adding the f, and then we're adding the N sound of sit, which is it. We're adding that to it. Rhyme with sit. Fit. And if they can't do it, you say, rhyme with sit. Fit. Now try it. Rhyme with sit. Fit. So you put the blend together, then you go back to the single sound again. Rhyme with sit. Rhyme with sit. And they've lost it here because here's that stop sound. And they can't hear that stop sound and remember what goes with it. So you're going to have to do what? Go back, add the I to it. Listen, let's try it like this. Rhyme with sit. Bit. Now, rhyme with sit. Bit. Rhyme with sit. Bit. Rhyme with sit. Bit. That's a hard one. These are just very hard. Rhyme with sit. Rhyme with sit. Pit. And that's a hard one. So to correct it, you would add the vowel. Rhyme with sit. Pit. Rhyme with sit. Pit. And will they get this first time? No, they will not. I wouldn't worry about it. They're going to practice it many more times. All right. On your warm-ups, are they having to rhyme like this? It's one of the things they're teaching them to do is rhyme, and they're teaching them to rhyme without adding that vowel sound in there. So to help them, you're going to add the vowel sound on the warm-ups to help them get what rhyming is. And that's how this goes together with the warm-ups. So this is a way to help them learn it, and then they're applying their ability in another area. It takes a while, and I would do, a lot of times the same exact words are repeated. But if they're not getting it and you've done it 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 days worth, and go back and do those 3 days again. because eventually you're going to get it, and it takes a while, especially the stop signs. As they get on, they're doing the long vowel sound like E but it doesn't really make any difference. Rhyme with meat, reap, seat, heat, feet. Doesn't matter if it's an eat or what it is. So they have a lot of practice on this. In fact, it doesn't get any harder till you get to the end of it, which is lesson 25. So they expect it to take at least 10 lessons to get it. And if they don't get it, start back again with where they are. If they need to go back to the 2-syllable words, go back. But the whole idea is this is a way to help them when they're doing the warm-up, so that you can help a child or 2 children that are not being able to rhyme. You can take them apart and do whatever you're doing with just those 2 or 3 that are not able to hear it, and help them a way to learn it. Okay, so we've done rhyming.
And so for kindergarten testing, I test on 2 syllables, and I test on the letter of the vowel, and I test on just the first letter.
So they're testing on all 3 of the separate skills.
All those things.
Can they do the compound word? Can they do the syllables? Can they do it with the vowel or without the vowel? And it's not like it makes a world of difference, but it tells you where the class is and where they need to start. Can the class already, everybody do this but one new child? Well, fine, I'll help that child. And the rest of us can start with this. But it also, if you're doing it all, it tells you who to concentrate on with who doesn't know it. All right, and now we're on to spell by sound. This is my least favorite thing. But thank goodness it doesn't go forever. Seems like it when you're doing it. And you may not get all the way through it. But the whole idea is that they're able to see the separate sounds and hear the sounds in a word. Spell by sound.
Is it real cold?
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. I'm gonna step outside so it fall out. I'll be right back.
Uncomfortable. Which means it's probably cold for everybody else.
I'm comfortable with my sweater on.
It's a little chilly. I mean, I'll go here but
Okay, look at the overview here for spell by sounds. Just curious if it's the same thing I wrote last night is what I have here. Okay, when we first start on spelling by sounds, they're starting with only 2 letters in a word, like me or if or no. And then when you get to lesson 26, they start adding 3 sounds. And then when you get to 31, then we are getting to 4 sounds. And there's a really hard thing there that you're not tested on till you get to lesson 42, and they don't even do it again till 42. So it's not important that they get it then. So what you're doing is you're doing the opposite of, say it fast? No? Yes? Yes, we're doing the opposite of say it fast. So instead of saying a word fast, we're saying the word and then we're taking it apart into the sounds that you hear. And all of this is designed, when I first started teaching school, 64, something like that, yeah.
think it was 64.
You were all reading Dick and Jane readers. That's what we had back then. And how did the kids learn? You showed them the word and they tried to memorize the word. And you showed them the word and they tried to memorize the word. And no matter what you did, you'd show the child the word cat and you'd ask them what the word was and they'd say cow or kitten or anything, because all they saw was the C. And so they just thought of a word that started with that. Especially if it's one of the words that we had tried to learn in class, then they would just make up one of those that started with a C. Didn't matter if it was can or cat or whatever it was. They weren't looking and listening at the sounds and the letters at all. And memorizing is not a good way to learn, because how many things can you hold in your memory, especially words? You have to be able to use your brain a little to figure out what it is you're looking at. And this is helping them to be able to see the individual sounds and then put them together to make a word. So even the kids that see letters, if they're reading a word like cat and they see k, and you say, tell me what sounds you hear, they're going to say k, at. Yeah, they got it. At. And what does that say? Cow. Because they don't know how to put those individual sounds together. They hear that they know what the sounds are. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of being able to blend those sounds together. That's why we're going to work so much on blending the sounds together, so that when they're reading, they're going to be able to read automatically, blending the sounds together without stopping after every sound that there is. But if they can't, but when you want them to spell a word, what do you want them to do? You want them to hear the sounds in the word when they're spelling it. So it's the opposite thing that they're doing. When my husband will ask me, how do you spell something easy? I don't know, I can't think of it. But whatever it is, it's an easy word. And I say, well, listen to what's in the word. But he can't hear what's in the word. He's never been trained to hear, it says, He hasn't been trained to hear that, and he doesn't want to learn either. I mean, I could teach him, but he doesn't care about knowing that. So I got really, really, really tired of telling him how to spell a word. And so I would say Amber. And he would say, now how do you spell amber? I've got the A and the M. Amber. Is it R-E? Is it R-N-E-R? And this is true. I mean, it wasn't that word, but this over and over and over and over again. And I got real annoyed, very annoyed. And so I finally found a solution. I was so happy and excited. I got Alexa. I'm going to have Alexa. I gave him Alexa, and I put it on right by his computer so he can ask her how to spell the word. And she does not get annoyed when he asks it 5 times how to spell the same word. And it relieves me of being mad at him, and then he's not mad at me. I still can't figure out why he can't just figure out that an on the end of a word says ER or something like that. But he can't. So you're just glad that we found a solution for that problem. But you don't want these children to grow up being adults and being 70 and 80 years old and not being able to hear the sounds in a word. You want them to know what they're doing. And it would make spelling so much easier as they go through the grades, if they can hear what's in the word, if they can take a word and break it apart into the sounds so that they can actually spell the word. Sure, there's a lot of words you can't figure out, like I can't ever remember a vacuum has two V's and two C's and two U's, or one C and two U's, or so. I mean, there's a few words I can't remember because they had two or one of these. I don't know. But most words you can figure out or come close enough that you could tell, or somebody else could tell what you were doing. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to hear the word and we're going to break it apart so we know what to do. If you're using the movable alphabet and they're having to spell a word, they have to hear the sounds in that word. If they can't hear each sound in the word, then they can't spell it. And they're not having to write it, but they're having to use the alphabet box to pick out the letters. So we're starting with hearing words that have only two sounds. Can you hear these two sounds? So let's spell me, and we're going to spell me, and we're not stopping between the sounds. This is important. We're not going to stop. We're going to spell me. Let's spell me. Ready? Me. What did we spell? Me. Let's do it again. Spell me. Me. And what did we spell? Me. Right. Here's another word, am. Here's how you spell am by sounds. Am. You've got to point to yourself here. Am. Good, I spelled am. What word did I spell? Am. Now, this is an easy word for us, but they don't know what am means, so you've got to say, I am here. I am big. I am tired. Am. Let's spell am together. You ready? Am. One more time. What are we spelling? Am. Ready? Am. Good. What do we spell? Am. And then if you have a chance, you can give a few turns. Let's spell if. You ready? No, wait. First I have to do it. Here's how you spell if by sounds. If. I can spell if. Listen. If. Let's spell if together. You ready? If. Now let's say you have a class that we have some people playing around over here. Let's spell if. Are you ready? If. So you're going to make sure everybody's saying it and then stop. And that way you can hear the sounds in this letter. And hopefully they know what it is, because you've covered that sound probably by the time you get to this. All right, so we're starting with two sounds here on spelling by sounds. Let's go to lesson 20-something that has three sounds. 26, I guess that, did we do 26 the other day? I don't think so. Oh, 27, that's a hard one. You don't have it so much as the 3-year-olds or the young 4s, but sometimes you get an older 4 or a kindergartner that says, that's not how you spell me, you spell it M-E, because their mother has taught them that or something. You say, yes, that is how you spell it, but we're spelling not by the name of the letters, we're using the sounds. So you just correct them like that. And tell them, yes, that's right, that is how you spell it. But sometimes they say something that's totally off the wall, and don't tell them it's correct. Just say, well, okay. I don't tell them it's wrong, I just say, okay, they're going to learn. Okay, we're ready. We're going to spell seat by sounds. It's my turn, I think. Yeah, my turn. I can spell seat. Listen. Seat. Let's do it again together. And make sure every time you're going to a new letter, you're touching yourself again or pointing to yourself so that they know it's a separate letter. Are you ready? I can spell seat. Seat. Good. What did we spell? Seat. Like this is a seat I'm sitting in. This chair has a seat. Your turn. Spell seat. What are we spelling? Seat. And the word we're spelling is seat. Ready? Seat. Make sure you stop on it, or else they're going to go ta. Because you can't hold, but they'll go the on the end of it, and you don't want them to learn to say ta whenever they see the T. Yeah.
That's how Bond says it. You'll notice. Right? Says because of.
So you told me that I thought he was saying because of.
He'll say something.
Because
Why are you
of.
crying? Because though he was mean to me. Like everything was because.
And it's cute, so you don't want to correct
I don't want to correct it because one day I'll listen to
it.
Okay, here's the hard one. Let's spell fear. First, I'm going to spell fear like you're afraid of something. Fear. Fear. And when you're spelling it, make sure you have an emphasis between the sounds that you're saying. Don't blend them all exactly together. Fear. What did I spell? Fear. Like I'm afraid of something. You spell it with me. Let's spell fear. What are we spelling? Fear. So you want them to say the word so they can feel it in their mouth. Fear. Ready? Fear. Good. What did we spell? Fear. And a lot of times you're only doing it once, but if you think they need it again, you could either do it again right then or come back and do it again at the end of it. The R is a hard one on the end of a word. I can spell sad. Sad. What did I spell? Sad. Like I'm crying because I am sad. Let's spell sad. Sad. Good. What did we spell? Sad. Listen, I can spell feed. Feed. What did we spell? Feed. Like I will feed the dog his supper. Feed. What are we going to spell? Feed. Your turn. Feed. What did we spell? Feed. And here's our last one. Mac. I can spell Mac. Mac. What did I spell? Mac. Let's spell it together. You ready? Mac. Good job. And then remember, you might want to group this group, this group, this group, and ask this group a word, this group a word, that group a word. You can't ask everybody, but you could ask 3 groups or 4 groups, each one of the words, so that you can tell a little better if they're getting it, if they are missing the hand signals, if they have no idea what they're doing. All right. We finished spell by sound.
And I have done 2 letters and 3 letters.
By the time we do this one more day, it'll be a little easier. It's even easier if you practice it ahead of time and you know what you're doing.
I think I get the best result doing this stuff and after big one. I think that's the best time.
That's-
Get out there around,
Uh-huh.
you have to try it at different times of the day.
Are we done with just
The absolute best is after playtime.
Are we doing blending?
We're not doing blending book. We're going to do blending when we talk about how to teach the word reading in the word boxes on your shelf.
Gotcha.
Because that's when they're really blending. Right. Okay, so we've got paperwork to cover today. As many things as you have to teach, and there's a lot of them. I mean, besides what we're doing here, there's all the general things like how to go to the bathroom, how to be kind to your neighbors, how to play in the home center, how to ask for something that's not, how to share. I mean, there's a ton of things to teach. How to get work off the shelf, how to put it back, how to roll up a rug, and all the behavior issues that are going on. Sometimes people think that the paperwork part of the day is not important.
Yep, it is.
It is extremely important because what are you going to have to do? Let's skip kindergarten. When you get to first grade, what do you spend most of your day doing? Working with your hand, right? And if you have not learned your fine motor skills, things go to pot. We have the worst group of handwriters in this school that we have had in years. Across the board. I'm talking all the way through second, third grade. I don't know about third grade. Miss Collins does a really good job with those kids.
She's particular about that.
Yeah, she is. But you can only work with what you have.
Sorry.
But I have looked at some of the first grade papers that they've written. Not necessarily this year. I haven't seen them this year. But last year I saw. They look, listen, if they look like public school, what are we doing? If they look like the kids at public school write all over the page, not on the lines, not making the letters anywhere close to correct, not having difference between tall and short letters, then what are we here for? If we're no better, we better be better than that. We need to teach them. And it starts as 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. It starts with using your fine motor with all the practical life stuff. They need to do everything. They need to be practicing using a crayon, a paintbrush, a marker, using Play-Doh. They need to learn how to use their fingers to tear paper. They need to use them to do fine motor skills. They need to work on cutting. They need to do as much as paperwork with things that they can that they're using this fine motor skill. In circle time, are you using fine motor skills? Not at all, are you? Most of the shelf work, is it fine motor skills? You get out of the box, you put the things down, not too much. So you can do all of that, but if you don't know how to hold a pencil, and I don't know about most of you, but I've seen many, many adults that still do not hold a pencil correctly. I forgot what it was, but one year when I haven't been on many airplane trips, but once I was on one and I watched the lady at the counter holding a pencil like this to write. And I thought, you're a grown lady and you're holding your pencil like our 3-year-olds do. But you can't correct it as an adult. You've got to start when they're young. And they start by doing art activities, Play-Doh, tearing paper, practicing with using pencil and paperwork. You have to begin, and it's not a not important part of the day. It is a very important part of the day. When they get to kindergarten, you can't teach them. You spend a whole kindergarten teacher year teaching them what they haven't learned before. How to hold a pencil. They can't make straight lines. They can't stay on the lines. They don't have enough control to do that. And then they get to first grade and the lines get smaller and they still can't stay on the lines. You've got to build that fine motor control from the beginning. And how do we do it? Artwork, that's a good time. Some of the finger plays that they do, some of those build fine motor skills. Cooking, if they're having to hold something and measure it, that would build fine motor skills. Things that you're having to use this for. And your paperwork that you're doing every day. Paperwork is very important. It doesn't take forever. It's probably one of the shortest time things you do. The hardest thing is teaching them to write their name. That is the very worst. If I wanted to save time and make sure I knew whose paper was whose, because our 3-year-old's going to know how to write their name? Not a clue. 3-year-olds need to start learning how to recognize their name. They can't write it yet. They will learn how to start it or something, but they need to first learn to recognize their name when they see it. Can they find their name on the list of children in the class? Can they find their name here? They need to know that this symbol right here is the same, it means their name. Because they don't always have that connection by the time they're 3. They'll get it as they get older, that they'll get it. They may not know what it looks like exactly. If you get a brand new child whose parent hasn't taught them, they don't know. But you're working on that. So how are you going to solve paperwork time if you have to write your name on 3 pieces of paper every day for 15 children? Me, I'd make labels. Or I would just put like the first letter of their initial, of their name, like, unless you
So
have.
can we staple them together? And then their name tracing page is the top page?
I usually, you do it one at a time, and they put it on the name tag when they're done. And then at the end, then I go around and staple their writing name on top, so that way I'm not writing their name. And I never give the kids the same color at first until they can write it.
I don't know where their space is. I tried that, and their papers are all over the table. And then I watched one of y'all was like stapling them like it's a packet, and that's what I handed them. So I tried that. Then they struggle with flipping the pages, and
Yeah, 'cause that's
I get
that's
that.
a build up. We
Yeah.
work to that point. Yeah.
I do that probably like at the end, just because then they get the packet and they don't know how to put.
I put their initial on the very first paper we do, and then I make them for the kindergarten, but I don't spell it, I don't speak to them. So every few end up on
Right, because otherwise they start looking through the packet and doing
the line.
their own thing. Oh, I know how to do that already. What I was saying is I'd put their initial on it. Now, if you have 3 people whose name starts with D, then you might have to put first and last name, or the first 2 initials or something.
And I've seen somebody, Adam is number 1 and Becky is number 2, and they would put their number. But I can't always remember that either.
No.
Um,
Well, I do it, if I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, is in alphabetical order, and it's not long before I memorize the class names in alphabetical order. Sometimes that middle gets lost a little in alphabetical order. Unless you have a class with a whole lot of people whose name starts with the same letter, and then that's tricky.
And then 2 letters, and sometimes even 3 letters.
Right, because you do have that a lot of times, you have with same letters. So that's something that everybody's going to have to figure out. I don't know about stapling together. I think that's a hard thing too. If you only have 2 papers that you're doing, you can put them front to back, and staple them together like that. You could turn it over.
and mine struggled with, if they had 4 papers, trying to get them all in their folder. They had no idea how to put a paper in a folder.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
So
And that's something they have to, that's one of the first 2, 3 homes. Find the babe and
yeah,
put it in the paper finish.
I know, like, after they staple it, I teach them to fold it in half and then hold the part that's like already,
The crease.
yeah, to put it in there. Because if not, then they leave it all standing up. But I have to teach them to fold it in half and do that. Because if they don't understand this way, because the name is longer.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
But I make it a
the
lesson.
name tracing is a different orientation than most of the papers.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. All right, so here is the question, which I have already lost. Okay, they do their papers and then you're filing them after they've done. So when do you look at them to see how they did?
I made mine, put them in a black tray, and then during like nap time or when they do shelf work, then I look through it. Then I call them to go do it.
Okay. Because you've got to look at their papers.
I have a black
You
tray
do
box.
not have time to look at them while they're all doing them.
And it teaches them.
I follow these things.
Yeah, I would too. I don't trust them.
So whenever I had 3-year-olds, over 3s last year, I had some behavior issues, and so I couldn't trust all my kids to do it together. And so I would break them up into groups, and so I would have them doing shelf work or individual work or whatever. And then I would do it like table by table, and I would go and I would sit down with them. And then if they were playing around, then I could see it because I was right there, and I would take it away and do it again. So that's whenever I was checking. Did you like take one in small group? I did small group work. Actually, towards the end of the year, we were able to do a larger group because they all understood it and they were used to it. And they were like, "Oh no, she's gonna throw away my paper if I'm scribbling on this or coloring this." And so towards the end of the year, we were able to get to doing it all together as a class, and it was going quickly. But that seemed to be the best route for the group of kids that I had last year.
Which is a good plan. I mean, you know, you just have to see what will work.
Yeah,
And some classes probably could all do it together and some couldn't. But
I had COVID kids last year, and so they were crazy. They were the COVID babies. Yeah. Actually, I feel like it was the most fun because they were so like, I don't know if like they developed more of a personality when they were at home or what, but they were like, I had some really interesting kids last year. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. But they were very great. It was fun.
so back to your question. I don't know the answer. I'd say a lot of times you're going to try and find out what works. And I'm with Miss Hammond. I just picked the papers up and graded them later. I didn't have time to look at them now. I don't have time to do any work when I'm in the classroom with kids. I am spending 100% of my time with them. If they're doing shelf work, I'm helping them with their shelf work. I'm giving individual lessons, or I'm correcting a child with a behavior problem, which is 50% of the class time.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it is.
It really stinks because there's like, I feel like it ruins a lot of stuff.
It does.
Because you're like, man, I had such a fun day. Now we can't do any of this because I'm having to worry about you.
Yeah. But every child needs correction. I mean, if they need it, they need it. And if you don't get it, it's going to not be good down the road. So whatever paperwork you have to do, and I'm not sure that you're going to get paperwork the first few weeks of school, I would say they probably need to wait a week or two. Don't you think? I really do, because they've got plenty of other things to learn as 3-year-olds.
Okay.
4-year-olds, fine. But I think that these 3s,
Or even if it's just
one page is fine.
One page, just so they learn this is what we do now.
well, the one page maybe, yes. I'm not sure about the young 3s. I don't know. It depends on the class you get, I
We
guess.
only got one page today.
Well, we're going to get more pages.
We're gonna revamp the.
We're doing it, we're going over it completely. I said, what? What are we doing? Where is this?
But some of the pictures that we use, the kids don't know what they are.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
And so they're like, what do you mean, Mark? Record player. Whatever. That's
What's
how
a
we-
record player?
seems to be, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well-
it's the
And a
first thing
telephone
we
that's
do.
attached to the wall. Console TV, yeah.
And when I tell a child, go put this in the wastebasket, they think, what are you talking about?
My 8 to 12-year-olds, I'm Southern, obviously, and I'll say, put this in the trash can or something. But every time that we're putting a new garbage bag in the garbage can. I say put a line in the wastebasket, and I talk fast. And so the first time I said it, my whole class was like, "What are you talking about?" And I had to like break it. It was like I was speaking a whole other language. I was like,
Yeah,
"Minor."
they do not understand words that we use, probably. Right.
Icebox. Nobody knew what an icebox was the first time I said that.
Yeah.
So it's a good vocabulary builder. I mean, sure, they're not going to understand the words, no matter what it is, but build their vocabulary. I mean, whether it's an ordinary word or not, if it's an old word, we didn't live during the pioneer times, but we know that they had a well and they had to pump it with a faucet,
Or butter.
but draw it up from the well. I mean, so you've got to build vocabulary whether you think it's a new word or an old word. And just like we have to keep learning new words ourselves.
Yeah.
They come up with new ideas and new words all the time.
It's a part of
And you think, what is RSPR? I don't know what that is.
my whole class now says, "Can I put a liner in the wastebasket?" Now it's like a fun.
So now I could tell them to go put it in the wastebasket and they would know where to go.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Well, most of the kids don't. So one of the things that we used to do were these workbooks here. Miss Pierre, do you remember these? Did you
When I
ever?
came, I think when I started is when he was growing up.
When they went out. The problem with good things is they go out of print.
Yeah.
And these are out of print. These are the treasure gold mine.
Yes, don't worry about it.
And didn't, no, I think it was, I forgot who told me they were looking it up to see what one of the kindergarten workbooks cost.
Yes, I raised,
And what was that?
like $80
For one
for
workbook.
one workbook on Amazon because they're all print.
So they're worth gold.
You see how much them old lesson plans we used to bring them? They're $20 with lesson plan. The old with the
old.
copy.
Oh, yeah.
Those $20. What?
Those are the best ones.
Those are the best. That's what I wanted to get.
Those are the good ones.
Because then you don't have to copy your lesson plan. You can just rip it out your
Anyway, we're going to look at these books and see what's in here.
Everything's digital.
Oh, snap.
This is
Sure not.
cool.
Spreadsheet or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I downloaded a few things and I just couldn't get it. I don't have the computer skills.
Miss Hammond, I have to have one to look at.
I teach because someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
She has her own.
I have my own red, I do red, green,
Red, blue, green, orange.
so, and they're all.
I really like it.
I do too. Nope. We're going to make copies of these pages.
Yes,
I want it for the front page.
Very similar.
Could you make a copy of the front page?
yes, we can make copies of
This is so, yeah.
And that's one of the things they do for testing in kindergarten, they make pretty similar pictures.
Yeah, we don't, is that this? Or
I'm
talking about these?
talking about those.
We,
Yeah,
we get these only for the first week or we never get them again.
It's, that's helps for me to see what it does. To find
The
the
right out of the box,
Oh, right.
that's her,
that program.
Like, I've never even had this one in my copy.
Oh, there's a lot of these pages you haven't had.
First one in my
We get these the first day. I don't think we ever did. Is this what our paperwork was like named after? It's a big job, right? Like our school paperwork that we get now? Because it looks very similar to the school paperwork that we get now. It's just not.
Some of it is. Some of it is copied directly from this book. But they did not copy every page. They copied only a few pages here and there.
And now like they're getting, I think this one copies of copies of copies of copies. They're getting a little dusty.
Overcopying.
I've never seen this one. See, okay, so this guy right here. What is that?
A bee doll.
I've never seen that before in my life. What is it? This one.
What page?
It's it's a beaded doll.
That's what I would say, a bee
My-
doll.
Yeah, we get this. My kids last year, because we had a couple with this on there, they were like, "Can we mark Bubble Dan?" What page?
Miss Cook, what page are you on?
22. I got it one time, and so that's what. And then I was like, "Well, I don't think it's a man because his nose is so big. I'm like, maybe it's a dog. I don't know." It makes sense. It's a dog. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, we don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called it Bubble Dan.
Yeah, but these pictures are, they're we can see which one is. It's like
Page 22?
Doll.
Yeah. Oh, we obviously can't have the Jeff one.
Or you think if you don't use it in October, that one is marked.
They already talked about it. Are you talking about this one? No, it's the beaded man on 22.
I have a little different.
You're on 13.
That's what she's on.
No, I was on 22.
Oh, that is.
We don't.
Oh, 13 pages.
Oh, try
Okay.
22.
I didn't realize there were 2 pages for each number.
Front and back, yeah.
Like this, I never get.
That would be
So is that's like newspaper?
You
They don't know what newspaper is.
I've never got
It was
the. See, I played with those. Like I've had those, but mine never looked like that. They were always like sticks, almost like straws put together, and then they would like.
Never
They would do the grill.
Miss Falconer,
Yeah. Oh, look at this one.
do you have my list of things that I made about the topics on here?
These, they don't actually ever see this.
I don't know where I put it.
Right here.
So we didn't do that.
Thank
for
you.
ours. I would say, okay, get your finger.
Oh, we even have pages for everybody.
Page play.
Ah,
You're gonna find this.
Miss Falconer is so good.
Train, and then we'll go through
The door closed. You
She's
can't.
so good.
Again, airplane, plant, train. Can you mark plant, please?
We're revamping it.
Because that's how I did it. Or just saying with the right thing.
Yes.
Here, Miss Hammond, you can have one of these. I
Yeah, see?
don't want you to feel left out.
No, not getting the blue circle book is out of print and it's like, the only copy is like half.
So we'll give it back to you.
They, yes. You're marking them?
So there,
I have
was
a-
all the apron in.
I haven't seen this since I went to school.
I know where it was changed.
I'm gonna give it back to you.
Okay, now pay attention, class. I gave you a nice little summary right here. And so we're going to look at these pages. Went through this book after I discovered our paperwork was not in the good plan order. And I said, well, let's see what kind of pages are in this book. So I went through and put them in the categories and then the subcategories. So first we have pencil skills. Now keep in mind all these are pencil skills because you're holding them in your hand with your pencil or your crayon or whatever you're using. So we have first is tracing, which is on pages 1, 4, and 12. So look at those 4 pages. And in case you haven't discovered yet, there's a 1 on the front and a 1 on the back. Every page has a front and a back. One, 4, and 12. Those are the only ones that are tracing. Now, what I would do, Ms. Falconer, is I would give them just half of that page to do. I mean, to trace only the apple in one day along with the other things that you're doing.
That's why they compared it.
I think that's enough.
Is there something that the symbol means or is it just a picture?
It's just a picture because you're telling the kids, find the page with the dog at the top.
Oh.
Because they don't know how to read page 13 or 28. The picture with the dog at the top. And you see the back of page 1 has a turtle at the top. So every page has a different picture.
16 has corn.
All right, so now let's look at the Follow the Maze, page 19. 3-year-olds could not possibly do this.
Um,
No. Only if it didn't have the extra lines could they do it.
Was it clear? I feel like we're getting bases like this, maybe go through the. I think we got ours like February. Yeah, that's about what we were always. They were.
And the whole idea of this one is use your brain. Look ahead before your pencil goes on the paper. Do it with your finger.
Yeah.
Do not go to a dead end stop. Every time you get to a corner, look before you move so that you're judging which way you need to go. So we have 19, and then there's 28. When they first start, they give them the samples and they have the right way to draw it. And then you see TH4, and that means take home lesson 4. And that's at the back of the book. They have 8 lessons that are supposed to be take home. We know what happens if you told them to do them at home. They would not get done. They would not be done the right way. Mom would do them. They would never come back. So in kindergarten, we give these for a test at the end of the book. But you can just do them as part of your stuff here. So here is,
Let's take home number 6.
oh, I got that wrong, didn't I?
It says take home 4. It's
It-
from 6.
Yeah, I made it wrong, didn't I? Should be take home 6. Well, one mistake. And then we have follow the line that crosses, and this is very hard. 24, it's on page 24. So, how are you going to teach them how to follow the line?
With your finger.
Every time you get to another line, go across. Go across. Don't turn. Go across. Go across. So you've got to show them on the board and do the whole thing. But what you're telling them is to go across. And I finally found out the use for this skill. When they get to the a little older grades and they have things on this side of their page and this side, and they have to draw a line to the picture that matches, you can follow the line they drew to see where they went. But I think it's a good visual skill to be able to do. So they don't have but 2 of those. And then here comes vocabulary. See how many things are on vocabulary. Let's look at page 5. Now this is vocabulary, but it's also learning a lot, not just same and different, but vocabulary and knowing what is an animal, what makes something an animal. Kangaroo is an animal, a monkey is an animal, but is a bird nest an animal? So how are you going to describe an animal to a child? It can move. Animals move. It breathes. Do they know what breathe means? I don't know. But on this page, almost everything that can move, they might by the time they get there. I'm not sure 3-year-olds would all know.
Talk about animals a good amount for them to know about.
No, like bird nest, they might
They might struggle
we call it a
covered bird nest.
But I think by this age they should know
They
what's
know
an
what's
animal and
an
what's
animal.
not.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't say it. That's how I would call it.
And that's,
And on the back is some more. And there's plenty of vocabulary building here along the way. You can talk kangaroo, monkey. You could read them to them, and they could mark them, and then they're learning vocabulary. Or you could read them all and they could point, and then they could go back and mark the animals. But there's a lot of vocabulary. I mean, we got pyramids. Are they going to know what a pyramid is?
So I thought, like, when we did paperwork, just correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we were supposed to tell them, like, put your finger on the kangaroo. That's the first row. What is it? A kangaroo. Put your finger on the next picture. What is it? A monkey. Are we not to do that?
You might have to do that to start with, but the aim is to be able to read the row across without, and them being able to follow. I mean, you're going to be teaching go this way with the arrow. You're teaching go this way with everything. So you might have them put their finger at the beginning of the row and show you which way to go. This is the way we're going to go. You're trying to do things as quickly as you can. The longer it takes, the more words you say, the more kids you lose.
That's how I usually start with what I thought we were supposed to do.
Well, it may be what you need to do to start with to make sure everybody's doing it.
And I always, at the beginning, this is a kangaroo. Is this an animal? Yes. Put a mark on it.
Right.
Do it together.
Together.
This is a monkey. Is it an animal? Yes. Put a mark on the monkey.
Right.
And for the first many weeks,
Right.
that we're having to do it together before I could tell them, okay, put a mark on all the animals.
Right, because they don't know how to put a mark yet. I mean, there's a lot of learning going on the first time you do anything. I mean,
Put one mark.
yeah,
Trying to teach them to make it not
not a
half
scribble
centimeter
scrabble.
long where I can't see
Or
the mark.
a mark that goes all the way down to the line.
I think that's what push down sounds like,
Uh,
though. Do mark them for push down.
And a mark to them, they don't know that word mark,
Right.
so it's
Or
draw a
line.
line, draw a line.
And I had some who never got it. They would just scribble the whole page, and I would try to do it again with them, and they were never going to get it.
Well, you can't make them.
Yeah.
You can just say, well, maybe they'll get it next year.
So,
Or when their mind decides that they want to.
are you talking about where they don't do the paperwork the right way? They don't mark? So I had one in particular that would do that, and I feel like on purpose. And so I would take his paper away, and then I would wait till everybody else was done, and then I would go, okay, now me and you are going to do paperwork. And then I would take his hand, and I would go, okay, one line. Now we're going to do the next one. Point to this, and I would hold his hand that had the marker in it, and he would use the other hand and point. And I'd say, okay, one line, we're going to mark dog. One line, and so then the last two I would do it. After that, he would still try to do it sometimes, but he knew how to do it. So he said,
This one, even with my hand on her,
and he still would, like, he would try it sometimes, but more than anything, he didn't want to wait. And so he was like,
Did that child sit by themselves or at a group thing?
both. She had a turn. If it was a small kitten.
she did it with me and it. She was fine. Like, we went through all
Who? No. I could say it was Amelia.
She
probably
did
didn't
not.
know.
She came in the summer, the year before she went to her, and she was already behind some of the other children who had been in our program.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, they're going to be. When they come in new, they're going to be. Hopefully, they should be.
well, she had her siblings are way older,
Yeah.
and she's been like the baby.
The baby.
and the
Her,
kid.
her speech, you can understand her words. Her sentence structure is all over the place.
All right, so let's keep going. So here was mark the animals, mark all the categories. So 5 is that, and 13 is mark the toys. All right, and we won't do every page because we won't get here. We just are going to look at the sample. Read the row. I think you've had plenty of those. Is 7, where you're supposed to read the pictures going across the row. And not only is this vocabulary, this is also to build fluency so they can speak faster and not go cat, chair, blocks, duck. You want to go cat, chair, blocks, duck. You're aiming for speed and being able to say what's there.
The arrow.
Yeah, it looks Come back over here to me.
All right, so we have several read the rows. Mark the picture out of 2. Let's look at page 9.
Very cool. I've never seen. Sorry. I think that was work
you don't have.
yeah, that would be so.
And it's really good work.
Yes.
And it's not the kids like the kindergarten.
Yeah, I really like that.
So on this one, you're going to read the name of the 2 pictures in the box, egg, leg, and then you're going to tell them which picture to mark. So this is listening. It's not vocabulary. I mean, it is vocabulary, but the biggest thing is, are they listening to what you say and can they do what you ask? Now move to the next box. We have blocks, box. Mark the box. And your aim is to be able to say it one time and have them do it. At the beginning, are you going to have to say it more than once?
Yes.
Yes. You may have to say it, have them repeat it with you, and then tell them to mark it. All right, so there's those kind of things. Mark the picture out of 2. Let's look at page 21. This one is mark the picture that goes with the phrase. So you're saying something. They're looking at all the pictures on that row and then deciding which one goes with what you said. So you said, the baby playing with a ball. Now, if all they hear is the word baby, they can mark the one in the playpen. If all they hear is the word ball, they've got 3 choices to mark. So they have to be able to know a baby playing with a ball. They have to hear both things. I think this is a really good thing for them to be able to do. So it's comprehension and then making decisions. And we have quite a few of those pages. And look at page 30. And every time we have a page, you've got front and back that has the same directions, just different pictures. Page 30, you're going to ask a question and they're going to mark the picture that gives the answer. So all this is still vocabulary and listening skills. Which toy goes on your foot? Now, before you ask them that, you would want to go through and name what the pictures are. Here's a toy dog. Here's a roller skate that you skate on the ground with. This is a mask that you wear on your face. And this is a toy car. Which toy could you go play with and put on your foot? So, there should mark it. And when they're first doing things like this, as you're going through them, then when they're all through, I would ask what they marked and then make sure everybody can see why it is. Because that first question that we asked about the baby playing with a toy, you think they're all going to get that? No. So you have to explain, yes, that's a baby, but is he playing with a toy? Yes, that has a ball, playing with a ball. It has a ball, but is it a baby playing with a ball? Listen to all the words, not just one word that you said. Which toy is pulled by a string? Now, are they going to know what all the toys are? Not necessarily. I don't think they'd know what the table tennis ping pong paddles are. I just say it's a game you play that you hit the balls with. And puppets, they may not know that either. So that's a really good skill. Okay, now same and different. Let's look at page 6. we first start with mark the pictures that are in the top box. So you look this time, that box and that picture in the top is important because they're going to look at that picture and then they're going to mark every picture that is the same. And if you have a child, this is what they're going to do when they first start. Here or here or here. So you're trying to teach them to go across the row. You're trying to teach them to do that. You might, I would like to be able to teach them to do it with their finger. I don't know if you have to use, I haven't taught 3-year-olds in a long time. So I don't know if you would use a marker, a strip that goes across, or they would lose their concentration. I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know. You'll have to see what works to help you teach them to go across the row. But even kindergartners don't go across the row. No, they just go anywhere on the page. So you're not going to get perfection. But what happens when you skip around like this is you skip this section here, or you skip this section, or you haven't looked down here. Do yours go across the road? If they were doing this?
Yeah, mine
Go anywhere they, yeah,
On this kind of style.
yeah.
I do demonstrate it for a couple of second
Uh,
so that they learn how to go very impressed.
but that doesn't mean they'll do it.
No, because there would be those, she's telling them.
Yeah,
Yeah, we go across the road on the stuff that is required to
Go across the
But
road.
This one right here, we don't.
Yeah, I thought you were just gonna say mark all the other things.
well, that's what you're doing is mark all the elephants, but in order to make sure you don't leave any out, which when you just go here and there, you're liable to leave something out. Especially if you're a fast worker and you want to get through and say, I'm finished. Okay, so that was number 6. Mark 2 designs on page 8, which is good. We just have to turn 2 pages. Now, they have directions that say mark the things that are different, but everything else that we do in this school, we're marking the ones that are the same. And so I would just keep doing the same directions. Mark the ones that are the same. And they're not pictures, so you can't say what it is. It's a design. It's just somebody drew some lines and see if we can find which ones are the same. And if you're teaching it, if it's the first time they're doing a page like this, you've got to do the first 2, 3, or 4 with the class. And then do one and have them mark it or check it. And then do another one. You can't just turn them loose. They won't have a clue. So you have to do very guided doing it. And it could be with the 3s, you're better off going down the page and down the page than you are going across.
Would you recommend creating that vision map?
That would be a good plan. I think that would be a very good plan for if the 3s are doing it. No, not for the 4s. They ought to be able to handle going across. Okay, so we have designs. And then we have pictures that are the same on page 10. And the very first picture are 2 umbrellas, but they're not the same. That means they look exactly alike. And you've done same and circle, so it's not like they've never heard this word before. In fact, you've done a lot of work on same and different things. And then we have page 22, which is mark the 2 that are the same out of 4. And this is a very short thing on the same. We have tons and tons and tons of paperwork on the same. and not the same, because it's a very big skill that we're working on. And we go from big differences to smaller to smaller to smaller differences. So you will get many pages of paperwork on, mark the ones that are the same. But this is what's come from this book. But I mean, there's probably 150 of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. Because they go from easy to hard, different sizes, different shapes, different directions, left and right, up and down. We go to words, we go to designs, we have tons of stuff. Because visual discrimination, when you're reading a word and the only thing that's different is one letter in a long word, you have to be able to find the part that's the same or different in that word. So it's a very important skill. Okay, Numbers, page 3. I don't think the 3-year-olds can do this until maybe January. Until they've learned how to count 1, 2, 3, and they've learned how to touch and count. I mean, they're only going to 4 or 5. I mean, it's not like it's big numbers we're doing here. And you're not having to have number recognition. But you are having to be able to touch and count, and you are going to have to touch and count on a row where you're not going all the way across. So here you're going to count how many things in the first box and then mark the same number of things in the other box. So if there's 3 sailboats, then you'll mark 3. So you see you're touching and counting, and then you're having to touch and count and stop. All the skills that we've learned. And then we have 23. And 23, you're saying a number, and so they're not seeing the number, you're just telling them how many to mark. Now, ideally, we would like them to start at the beginning of the row and mark 1, 2 at the beginning of the row. Practically, they don't all do that, especially when they're first starting, but you're trying to teach them to do it. So what are you going to do when you get a page that they've never done before? You're going to do the first 1, 2, whatever it takes, 3. Do 2 together, do the next one, tell them what to do, go around and check everybody's paper. If they all get it, have them do the next row. If they get that, then you're going to do the last 2 and just tell them the number and then check it. So really, all you'll have to check on their paperwork would be the last 2 because you've already checked the whole top of the page. So as you're doing it, you're walking around and seeing what they're marking and helping those that can't do it. Because there's always some that can, and there's always some. Oh, one year we had a child that read all the directions to themselves and knew what to mark.
Well, the ones that we usually get have like a marked fish, it's like a picture of the fish. And so if we're not doing that time, a lot of mine's correct, a lot of mine correct with those last year. And if they saw the little fish in the corner, they would just go to the start marking on the fish or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually saying the same thing, so it's so sad. It didn't correct it. Would it be possible for us, like, if whenever we get, this is just my thought at least for the first couple weeks, whenever we get the papers for these for our class, what if we got one that was like on a bigger piece of paper so that we could like magnet it up to the whiteboard and we could go along with them and that way they can all see it? That would be super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, usually we're all
Yeah,
going on the
that
whiteboard.
way, I feel like that would be a little bit easier. Is that something we could do? Just blow it up and put it on like a ledger piece of paper?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, that would be awesome. Because I feel like that would really show them starting from here, especially with like this one with like counting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I always try to use my book or, to show them what I'm doing up there with the paper. We always, we have, most of our papers are individual except for the workbook.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I
Clipboard,
use
But-
same.
paper.
I just put one up there.
That's what I said last
Well,
time.
mine's being a little bigger.
They're a lot, right?
Okay, so this is a very good page. And then we have an odd thing in here on page 35. "35 says, mark every picture that has two and only two people in it. So this would be helpful if you actually went across the row and not jumped all over the page. But you could jump all over the page and do it, but it would make it more difficult to find. But it's an interesting way to do the number 2. All right, now we have, since we're right here at 34 on the other side, we have some pages on this, 14 and 34, where they're going to look at the picture and tell you what's wrong.
I'm excited about those.
And the first you've got to describe the picture to them. What do you see? I see a toy chest with lots of toys. Well, what's on the floor? Oh, look, it's a dog. Is it a real dog? No, it's a toy dog, isn't it? Can a toy dog bark? No. Can a toy dog walk? Some of them can. Can a toy dog eat? No. What's that little boy doing? What's he got in his hands? And, so he's pouring some, they might say water. I mean, I can tell it's milk, but I don't know if they can tell it's milk or not. They're pouring it in the bowl. What's that? What's it for? It's for the dog. Do dogs like milk and water? Yes. Can these dogs drink milk and water? No, they can't. So what's wrong in this picture? He's giving milk to toy dogs. That's silly, isn't it? You give milk to real dogs, not toy dogs. And then you look at the next picture and you discuss what's in the picture, and then you talk. Well, do you do this? No. Cars don't go on your porch. Where do cars go? And some child is liable to be able to know the answer, but not everybody will be able to look at a picture and tell what's wrong. So you have to go into some idea and tell them what's in the picture before you ask them if they know what's wrong with this picture. So there's another page like that too. And now let's go to page 25. Oh, here's the center, and it makes it easy. This is what goes with. Here's a hand. What goes with a hand? And first you're going to name the pictures here. What do you see? A hand. And then I see a comb, a glove, and a necklace. So we have hand, comb, glove, necklace. What do you think goes with a hand? Now,
It's a little tricky.
it's a little tricky because couldn't a comb go with a hand? You comb your hair with it?
Or the
Yes.
necklace could be a bracelet.
Yeah, it could be. But really what goes with a hand is a glove. You put it on your hand. When would you do that? And about the only time they would know to wear a glove is if it's cold outside. And then we have a ladder, and then you discuss the fire truck. Sometimes they may not know these things, but you discuss each picture, what they're doing in the picture, and then have them, after you get through discussing it, see if they can put their finger on the picture they think it is, and then you can check their finger, and then they can mark the picture. I just thought of that, but that's what I did. Didn't remember that till now. Okay, so all these go-togethers are very good because there are lots of thinking skills here. And then page 32, this one is hard. I mean, the pictures they gave are not hard, but the skill is hard, putting things in the right order. So here are two pictures. We're going to see which one they tell a story. We're going to mark the one that tells the end of the story. So what would you do first if you had a loaf of bread and it's cut, and then you have a loaf of bread? You know what? I would do what you did first. But you could say, what do you do last? You could do it twice.
Kindergarten will do that. That's pick them at the end of the story.
At the end of the story. But you might want to start doing this page once in the year toward the beginning, doing the first, what happens at first, and then later on you might do it again. They won't remember it, and mark what you did last. Because those are both good words. So first you break the bread, and last you cut the slice. So I would tell the story like that and then say, now mark what we did first, or mark what we did last. That's a new word. That's a hard word. And there's also going to be a next if you have a three-part story. First we get a pumpkin, and then we cut a face in it. That looks like a happy face, doesn't it? First we have a cup, and then it gets broken. I bet we were sad. And we have somebody's washing dishes, and then they're eating. So what do you do first? First you eat, and then you wash the dishes. And they probably don't know about sewing. But we have a dress, and some people know how to make a dress. They can sew it together. So first you get the material, and then you make the dress. Okay, and then we have let's look at take home page 5. Let's look at that. We're learning two words here, larger and smaller. So we moved on from big and little, and now we're going to do larger and smaller. If they're threes and they still don't know big and little, I would do big and little. Nothing wrong with that. And this is not the first time they've had it in the book earlier before this. So you're going to say, on this side, it says, mark the one that is the larger. In each picture, you're going to mark the one that's the larger. And on the other side of the page is mark the one that is smaller. This is the only page in the book that has different directions on the front and the back. And further back in the book, they have a whole front and back on larger and a whole front and back on smaller. And then they put them together here at the end. So do you see how many different skills are in this book? A lot of different kinds of skills. And we're going to make copies of this some way. I know we've got a genius here that can do all this. And put them in the rotation and take away some of the other papers. But our aim for paperwork is, one, we're going to learn how to write their name. Maybe just the first letter or the first 2 letters, but make a start. And if one child gets 3 letters and one child only gets 2, that's fine. And if you get one whose parent helps them and they've got all the way and they have a short name, the difference between Pam and Antoinette and writing your name is
Yeah.
huge. And
Okay.
and when you write your name, capital letter first, lowercase letter the rest of the way. Always use a capital letter first, lowercase letter the rest of the way. All right, so we are going to be working on writing our name along with the other paperwork. You're going to probably have at least one page from this book every day. That's the goal. And you're going to have same and different papers every day that they're going to get harder. And the idea by the time you get to the end of the 4-year-old year, you've passed all the easy, same, and difference. You're through with that. You're on to hard pictures that are similar. You're on to words. You're on to designs. You're on to the hard things so that you don't get stuck with easy, same, and different papers all year. The whole idea is to move from pictures to big details, sizes, small details, onto words that are similar, words that are not similar, words that are similar, words that have different beginning sounds, ending sounds, middle sounds. The middle sounds are the important part. You have designs that are very different, designs that get similar, where you have a small certain part. So it takes a lot. You're trying to work on visual discrimination so they can tell the little and the big differences. Not only pencil skills that you're using to hold the pencil with, but also you're working on visual discrimination and a lot of vocabulary as you're doing all this. And we're going to have number papers too. And what else are we having? I don't know. We haven't done it yet, so we don't know.
This is step one.
This is step one. But you are going to have at least 3 papers a day in the older classes, besides your name paper. Because what we used to do is have the book page and 2 more, plus your name.
And youngest person starts until January.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
When I taught youngest board, we didn't get the book until January. Now it's just kids that are more sophisticated now.
And it's not that hard. Some of it is.
I'm excited about us having numbers. Because I feel like that helps with, the recognition.
So what numbers should they be writing?
Most of the things they're doing, they're not writing numbers on anything we're doing. They're counting them.
Well, when they start subtraction.
Yeah, when they start subtraction,
So
they are.
So we trace numbers throughout like in like October-ish, October, to go big to small. So when they start subtraction,
They're ready to write.
How to write the numbers.
Right. But they're not usually getting subtraction until January, February. And we haven't covered subtraction. The best thing in subtraction is what's in the book. I wrote down word for word everything. It took forever. I remember thinking, I have to write more words. But when it's what you say, so read the book and read it again and read it again. It's not a whole thing. It's a lot of pages though, 5 or 6 or 7. It's more than you would think. All right, we certainly need to overdue for a short break because we have a lot left to do today, don't we?
And
Well, we've covered DISTAR. We didn't get to warm-ups, but we did talk about how they were included. So that was important. And then I guess we're going to be working on the bucket stuff when we come back.
Am I doing blue zones today or tomorrow?
Oh, you're going to do them first.
Green.
Green, no.
Green
Somebody's
means
yesterday.
somebody's doing blue.
Green, she did blue zones.
Okay, you're doing green. You're up first when we come back.
Okay.
Yeah. We got off to a,
Oh, no, it's okay. I just didn't know if I was like, maybe I'm supposed to do them on
no,
Thursday.
you're doing tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean today.
Today. Okay.
Today is tomorrow.
I'll do whatever you want, just tell me. I'm gonna go be out of here. Yes, like I have the warmth and
This is too many pages. I mean, it shouldn't be this many pages. Do you agree?
Well, it's a front and back and inside is what it is.
It's more than the front and back and inside.
So it's just because that's how that copy came. Like that's just, so the way they're printed is printed like this. And then that goes, this gets folded and that gets.
But still, you've got one, two,
It's a
three,
lot of
four,
things to
5,
protect.
6 pages.
Yes.
All right, I will look at that. Not today,
Okay.
tonight.
Yes.
I'm just looking to see what you could do with it's not in color. I think most of this could be black and white.
Yes.
It's prettier in color. Oh, of course not. Too much money. I agree with that. But almost everything could be in black and white.
I think the color ones that need to be color like towards the back of the.
So far. Happy faces, sad faces.
It would be cut out the
Oh,
green
the yellow
bottom
and green.
then match the yellow with the green.
Yeah,
So those are the only ones.
but that's not a whole lot.
No, it's just mostly the
And-
basic colors.
And what if you ordered this book and had one book for each teacher and they could use one on the board with the colors? Of course, then the kids might not.
The kids have the black and white. I just didn't see them.
Yeah, they would. I just thought it would be nice to see the colors. I don't know what sound a penguin makes.
I don't know either.
I'll have to go home and ask Miss A. Alexa, what sound does a penguin make?
That would be it.
This is really good.
It's very basic. There's a lot of pictures.
I mean, the young threes could do this when they start. They can't do a lot of this other paperwork, but they could do this. I mean, tall and short, long and short. These are really good things. Not just for twos, but for threes. And do you have this one? What is this?
In all my years of junior
I did.
today was one of the
I
best.
just like this.
As far as their behavior.
I thought it
oh my
was very
gosh,
good.
Yes.
It is good. Good, great pictures.
I forgot how I opened it.
It's open this way.
Way better than I expected. But Jennifer was there.
Yeah,
No.
it's very good pictures. And they're pretty thick.
Yes.
And they're easy to slide
I'm glad she
together.
Yeah.
A little. I mean, they don't
They
slide,
don't slide together.
but they're
I
not
mean, even
hard like some of those are.
No.
I'm saving this for my grandson when he turns at Christmas
Okay.
when he'll
There
be
was like 2 high school
2.
kids picking each other up,
I guess
like
it'll
on
be
their
2.
shoulders and spinning them around. I was just waiting for them to hit me. And kids take toys out, like water guns and cups and buckets and stuff, which I had never seen there before. And I was just really thinking about being on how much hard. There's stuff you don't want to pick them up, but so much of the
I better go to the bathroom for everybody's
stuff
back.
at the beginning of the summer.
Really?
I don't
That's
maintain
still
it.
new. Yeah.
I mean, by the end of the first summer, there was stuff not working, and you go fix it each year. But their behavior, I mean, I sent a note and I said, I've probably done over 100 filters this week.
There were no nutty buddies. So she brought me this.
And I think, yeah,
I forgot to ask for
I'll
the
take the cookie though.
I think only 2 took their seatbelt off.
I'm surprised you did you go. I don't.
Y'all better make sure I don't be on the phone with nobody when I get behind you. She don't say she. I just need to tell her. She don't talk this whole field trip, the whole thing. I'm about
So Miss Phoebe, have you ever done the sorry not to cut you off. Have you ever done the kissing hand?
I read it about,
I just know Omar always did like the first week's lesson, so I'm gonna do that this year.
so I like it. I'm one of the preschool groups I'm on, they talked about it, but it might make some of them sad after reading it that aren't sad before it. And I can see that
Bring
too.
different things on them.
I don't like that one.
I'll put kinds of them.
I don't do
Really got landmines the day of the Valentine's party. I sit, luckily an extra box, I sit at home with Nina. I told her he has to do it himself, because I'll know he did. There's a guy he would have a box. Out of the bag. In the shoulder bag.
Are Landon and Logan still coming?
They're on vacation, they come back the 23rd.
Okay. Yeah.
I asked them all this. Love it. I asked them all this. I need to know. Do you have any snacks, Brenda? Some popcorn. Ooh, what kind of popcorn?
They have these almonds at all.
This is their one, the
Target. I saw on TikTok.
some nuts.
Would you put a thing on for the video? A name tag?
I am not prepared for that.
Would you put a name tag on? Instead?
I'm gonna
Do you want me to put a name tag on?
Do you have one?
I'm gonna make one really quick.
Yeah. I was gonna eat that at the end of my healthy dash. I don't even want, I have a couple watermelons. I didn't want the fish sticks or the macaroni.
I don't know why you touched it. Because you always say it.
I was
You
starving.
don't like it.
I literally got out of my room and then it was already 58. Me for that. Pasta, that's fun.
Are you ready?
Oh, are we waiting?
What would you? Wait for you.
Who's that?
Nobody.
Nobody's been there for 2 days.
I was like, I was like, oh, there's. It looks like somebody's sitting there, right? It's not just me,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? Like you can see it. So I can just go.
Hard, I know, I guess it's still recording.
Oh.
Oh wait, you can come in here and pause it.
The red light is on.
You keep it on. Yeah, it's still recording.
Go. Okay. Do you want me to just start saying the thing, or like I'm talking to my class?
How you talking to you?
All right, guys, we're gonna do the green sounds today. Ready? So this one is a pig. Do you see this pig? He's upside down and he can't get up. And so he has both of his arms up in the air. You see him? Here's his head, here's his arms. And he's got both of his feet up in the air too. So he's doing this. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Can you do that? Let's make that sound. And look down here, here's a tiny little pig. Do you see his friend down there? We're gonna say that same thing for that tiny little friend. Ready? Good job. Oh, look, here's another one. Do you see that one? We're gonna do the same sound for that friend too. Ready? Good job. All right. Do y'all see little lady standing so tall? She loves standing tall and straight, and she loves to sing. And she has a special note that is her favorite, and it sounds like this. Oh. Can you make this sound? Oh. What sound does little lady say? Oh. When she stands straight and tall, she says, oh. Look, if we look down here, we see another tiny little lady friend. And she's saying, oh. What is little lady saying down here? Oh. What about this little lady? Do you think she might be saying the same thing? Let's see. Oh. Oh. What is she saying? Oh. And look at Miss Cook's tongue. Do you see how my tongue is behind my teeth? Am I doing this? Oh. No. My tongue is behind my teeth. Oh. Let's try it together one more time. Oh. Good job. Okay, here's little lady again, but this time she has a ball. She's holding her ball right in front of her, just like she's in the pool. And when she's in the pool, she gets a little bit of water in her mouth, and she says, to shoot the water out of her mouth. Can you make a ball in front of you, just like little lady? And can you say, is Miss Cook spitting whenever I make this sound? Ew, no, that's nasty. But I am pushing the air through my teeth, or through my lips. So my lips are gonna stay together, and then I'm gonna blow air out. Watch. Can you do that? Good job. Oh, look, I have some little friends down here. Are they gonna make the same sound that the big little lady and her ball made? Yes, they're gonna say, and look, here's another one. Is she gonna make the same sound? She is. She's gonna say, so when we see little lady holding her ball, what sound is she gonna make? That's right. I'm gonna do my story with this one, okay? Okay, so little lady was so tired one day. She had been walking for so long, and she saw this beautiful chair. When she sat down in the chair, she went, can you make that sound? Good job. So little lady, do you see her? She's kind of hidden there. It's a little dark. Little lady was tired, and when she sat down, she says, if we look down here, we see some of those little ladies in her chair tiny. And they're saying, what is this one saying? Anytime we see little lady's chair, we're gonna say, good job. Do you remember when we talked about Donut and he had his cough? Well, Donut fixed his cough. He drank cough medicine. And when he did, he drank it down and he said, guh, guh, guh. Can you make that sound? Guh, guh, guh. This one's one of Miss Cook's favorites because if you take your hand and you put it on your throat, you can feel the medicine going down your throat. Let's try. Guh, guh, guh. Do you feel it going down your throat? Let's see if it works for our little friends down here. Guh, guh, guh. Can you still feel it? I can still feel it too. What about for this one? Let's try. Good. 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 Good job, friends. Thank you. Is that it? Do you have anything to say or to add?
Yes, I would say with the little pig,
Mhm.
I would point up because this doesn't seem like up to me.
I was so nervous. I was like the first one that I did, and I was like, which one am I on? Okay, so point up. Okay.
If you want to get up, you would say up. And then
Oh, instead of, so, okay, so what I typically do is I'll try to make one of my kids, I didn't want to make any of the teachers yet, but I'll tell one of my kids, can you be the pig? It's Henry's turn to be the pig. All right, lay down in the middle of the circle time, and I'll have them put their legs up and their arms up and do, and I'm like, well, he's doing it. Oh, well, yeah, they do. Right? So I'll have them put their arms and their legs up, and then I'll tell them to make the pig, and we do that. And so, yeah, that works.
when they're, that's good. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always go on the ground myself.
But make them point up when they're doing it. Up.
Instead of straight. Okay.
Because then up, something
Up.
up. And
Okay.
I would be sure to tell them they're saying up because they want up.
Okay.
But, you know, it helps them to do it.
Okay. So the first time that I introduce it, I'll introduce it with just the story, and we'll do that. And then after that, I'll look at some of the words like on the bottom. Like I'll say gulp, or this word, it's in the stack, but you know what I mean, or guarded. And so then after that, I started last year, but I think it kind of messed them up because my name is Cook. And so by the time we got to blue sounds, we got to, and I would say, let's see if we can find the hidden sound. Ready? Cook. Is there a k in cook? And then I had a Chloe and a Caleb. And so those were good, but then whenever you get to like H and you have like a Henry or a Harrison, the H doesn't look the same like a C does. Does that make sense? And so I don't, is that something that I should continue, or do you think that I should just stick with not? Because I think it's fun when they can meld
But also
their
put-
sounds.
It's at the beginning and the end, and it's a K at the end.
Yeah, but I think because,
Yeah,
well, and I had,
couldn't correct them on K. If they said it.
Yeah.
well, it is the same, it's the same sound.
Yeah, but if you're trying to show them that this, with the C, and we're trying to find it in your name.
Written word or just oral?
No, it's just
Orally.
Miss Cook.
Yeah.
But we have like their names are all around the room, like in our nap buckets and our table. And so they like, there was a couple, like I had one that would write in all capitals and stuff like that. And she was like, but it's my, what do you mean, Miss Cook? And so, if there's anything that I should change besides up for
And then the other one I thought, when the little lady is in the water, you need to emphasize that she's in the water, her feet are hanging down.
Okay.
You gotta emphasize that, or else it looks about the same as
Like everything.
playing the drum.
Then her feet
Yes.
are under the
That are
water.
hanging down in the water.
Okay.
And when she came up, then she was going.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Your turn.
Good job.
That was hard.
That was really good.
That was really good.
It was good, very good.
Thank you. I learned a lot.
It's easier when you, I mean, if we all taught that same lesson, it would sound different.
Yeah. Well, I'm expressive by nature.
And you have to be, to get the
Yes.
kids' interest.
Well, especially this day, I feel like there's so much, there's so many children that are raised by a screen that I'm competing with the screen, if that makes sense. And so I have to be more entertaining than Miss Rachel.
And you know what shocked me is my grandson, who is 18 months now, but when he was 5 months old, 4 or 5, my daughter has this tablet, like about this size, and she'd put the tablet in front of him and he'd watch it.
Yep.
And I thought, you're giving babies?
Yeah.
But
I can't tell you how many times I go to a restaurant and the kid is there with the tablet and the parents probably are on their phones too, nobody's having a conversation.
well, I understand this with older kids, but I was just shocked at the And I said, and he watches it? She said, yes, he does. And then we went on vacation, and the only thing that keep him quiet in the car is in his car seat. She has the tablet attached to the front of his car seat so he can watch it, and he'll watch it for an hour.
That's terrible.
Yeah. But of course, if you were in the car with him,
Oh my goodness.
he's a child that has to be entertained every minute of the day.
Because he's already been trained for that.
Yeah.
That's what happens whenever they're fed that. You know what I mean?
And he goes to childcare during the day because she works and is a teacher. So they were very happy when she withdrew him for the summer because he was into everything and they could not leave him alone for a second. Okay, we're doing bucket work now. And it's not bucket work that you're gonna be on the shelf. A lot of the same thing is on the shelf, but it's what you're teaching in class during circle time. There's a big difference between what you're teaching in class during circle time and what you're doing on the rug when you're doing individual work. In class, you're teaching the concept. Individual work, they're practicing the concept. So the first thing we're doing is rhyming. So I'll give you like 1 minute to see if you can find rhyming in your bucket.
Rhyming?
Right, we're going to do rhyming opposites if you come across these. Rhyming opposites, go-togethers.
So just get out one of them or all of them?
Just find one thing.
Rhyming opposites and what else?
Go-togethers, what's wrong, and sizes. That's what I'm hoping we get through with that. We should get more done than that, but we'll start with that.
Whoever had this one, or if you did this, Ms. Faulkner, good job.
What?
This is the most organized teaching bucket I've ever
If you're
put my
going
hands on.
through whatever.
It's in order and it's stacked accordingly. And I can't do that with all of them.
So whenever I check them, I put them back that way. Whenever I receive them back, they're because and I'm not saying that everything has to come back exactly the right way because you're in class and I don't expect.
Well, I'm used to like the 2-year-old ones where every like opposites might be something this big.
Yeah.
And because it's a bucket this big. And so it's not always you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything
Oh, yeah.
else kind of like just
that one's
where it'll fit.
Yeah.
I used to take all my cards out and then I would stack them like this on each side and try to get it that way. But at least I knew it was a
What's
set
wrong
card.
or what's missing? What all are we needing?
We said, size.
We're doing rhyming, opposites, go-togethers, what's wrong, and sizes. That's what I've got out.
Go together.
What's wrong?
I'm not.
And some of the things this bucket didn't have.
No, I know. Go back to the one.
What's wrong or what's
Most of
different?
them don't have what's missing. Is what one of them have because we've had to make.
Well, they didn't have the last things, odd things, and then all the last 4 things on the list.
Because it says what's
You
wrong.
know what's missing? And it says
Well,
candy.
it's from the last few, and should be the CD.
I have
We don't
this,
have CD players anymore.
I have
Sign
that.
set.
I don't even remember what it was, but I knew they didn't have it. Oh,
Weird, okay.
No, the other.
and one of the other things I thought
Different.
is I know the list of what's in the bucket is in their notebook,
Yes.
Yeah, same with
but it ought to be in the bucket too.
Opposite.
They're supposed to have a printout with either typewritten description or a handwritten description of what each piece is.
What are we, rhyming,
But
opposites,
some of them get lost
sizes, go
or not
together,
put back
same
in the
difference,
bucket.
what's missing or what's wrong.
Because this bucket didn't have any of that.
Okay.
Rhyming.
So it's like, well, I don't know. Is it supposed to be in here or is it missing?
It's missing. It's supposed to be in there, but
If you get rhyming, get these four
I don't
out.
think it was.
Or maybe there just wasn't any. I don't know.
And that's to do it. Like, yeah, and it is what it is. Okay, 1 hour and a half.
And a lot of these things, there's 2 sets of everything.
missing one, maybe one of them, but not all three. That would be on.
Here's a piece.
I really don't know.
No, trying to go back to the
I want cranberries. You go throw it away.
Here. It always said, the nuts and not the cranberry. Like that.
It was a gift for you.
I'm like,
Want to know.
take my stuff all the chocolate off the chocolate covered raisins and return the raisins.
Is another hair?
This
This just got colder and then.
It was on 70 when we were all freezing. And so I turned it to 70. You know what it might be is the kids aren't using the bathroom. Because I can hear it going. It's just not Arctic.
Oh, do we need that picture too?
I don't know, but I needed it because I needed to write it. I'd written down something on it here. And I couldn't remember where I wrote it. Yes, I wrote it on this. Okay, Miss Fountainer, I don't have odd thing number 4, math concepts, verbal concepts, spatial concepts, following
Those
directions.
things, Goose had given me to put in there, and then she took them back. So I don't have them anymore.
So then they're really
Even
not
if
on,
they're missing.
right, so they're really not on there, right? Okay, it's just that I thought, well, they're not here. And they're on the rotation chart 5 times, so I thought,
The intent was to add them to the rotation, but
didn't get
it
done.
wasn't back from me, so. I think she wanted to use them someplace else, and then never rewarded them.
Okay, did we talk about doing this group page first and then whatever's on the back every day, how you're gonna follow that? I can't remember if we talked about that or not. I think we did. Where every day you're gonna do this page.
Yeah, we talked.
We didn't talk about that yet.
All right, so every day you're gonna do these things, the pledge, the song, the prayer, the days of the week, the months of the year, if you're to it. You're counting, you're touching and counting, number recognition, maybe patterning. I don't think that's every day. And then you're doing the sounds and Distar and shapes and colors.
This page right here, the group lessons.
Yeah,
Lesson training right now.
yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, that's the same thing or different.
That's it, it's just the newer copy.
Newer copy.
And then when you finish all this stuff, which is not the most interesting fun stuff, but you have to get through this. And so the bribe is, if we get through with this, we get to do the bucket stuff. And they like that. That's the fun part. And so on the back is the bucket stuff. So you do all of this, and then on Monday you do what's in the little box here for Monday, week 1. And then you do on Tuesday, you do all of that, and then what's on the box for week 1, day 2 on Tuesday. So this varies every day. And this was, I thought, well, it's interesting. Everything on here you're doing at least twice. Everything you're going to do again at least 1 time. Some things you're going to do 3 or 4 times, the same set of cards. But everything you're going to do at least twice. So the first time you're doing something, you're teaching it, really. And the second time, you're reviewing, but you expect them to be able to do it a little better because you've already taught whatever it is that you're teaching. Not perfection, because you've got a whole year's worth of stuff to go. But know that if they don't get it today, they're going to get it another day.
And everything that's on the bucket is on the.
It's not just a,
Because I was reading this.
they won't remember.
Because they won't care.
They don't care.
It's still fun.
If you roll it, then
It's, and also repetition helps too. We did this. They don't want to do it. Well, repetition is helps a lot too. The repetition is another. Yes.
All right, so if you're doing classwork like this, what does it mean when you see a red dot?
you pull that out first.
Do it first. You lay them down first. If you're doing work in circle, does it necessarily mean you lay them down first?
I
I do
always
so
do.
that they learn to.
Just so that it'll continue whenever they're doing their individual work. So
I don't,
Okay.
because when you're teaching it the first time, you're teaching the concept of rhyming.
Okay.
They don't know rhyming yet. So you're teaching, we're going to see what words rhyme. Here is skis. A word rhymes if it ends in the same sound. Listen, skis and cheese. Do you hear that? Skis, cheese. They rhyme, don't they? Say it. Skis, cheese. That rhymes. What do we have here? Mouse. So we're going to see what rhymes with mouse. The part that rhymes is the end of it, the mouse, house part. Mouse and house. That rhymes. Mouse, house. Say that. Mouse, house. Hear the end sound that rhymes? Mouse, house. Here is soap. What's going to rhyme with soap? Rope. Say it. Soap, rope. The end part rhymes. Soap, rope. You hear that? Mug, and they're going to call this a cup. So you say, yes, it is a cup, but there's another name for it. Sometimes people call it a mug. A mug and bug. That rhymes. Say it. Mug, bug. That rhymes. Yarn. That's a kind of a string that you have that's real soft. Yarn and barn. Say it. Yarn, barn. That rhymes. Yarn, barn. Boat. Here's a boat. Boat. And coat. Boat, coat. Say it. Boat, coat. That rhymes. The end sounds the same. Car, jar. Car, jar. They rhyme. Say it. Car, jar. Good. Here's an owl and a towel. What rhymes with owl? Towel. Owl, towel. Here is phone, bone. Phone, bone. That rhymes. Phone, bone. The end sounds the same. Now let's go through and see if we can do them again. Are you ready? Skis, cheese, mouse, house, soap, rope, mug, bug, yarn, barn, boat, coat, car, jar, owl, towel, phone, bone. Good job. All right, if I put these all out, do you see how much longer it would take me to do it? And by the time you get to this part, you're thinking, oh, this circle is so long. But they like this part. They're much more interested in this part. They'll pay attention to this and they won't pay attention to that other because they like these cards. All right, the first time you're doing these cards, you can just go through it like that. The next time you're doing this same set of cards, you could have them all laid out on the rug and then say, bone rhymes with, and they could tell you whatever it is. So you could do it a little differently the second time, but using the same cards. All right, these came out of this bag. I certainly don't want to get them lost. And then you would do, now these are puzzles. You'd be happy to know it took me about half my time last night till I realized I was thinking like it was shelf work and not teaching work. So the same thing here. Sure, these are puzzles, but you're still going to rhyme. Red, bed. Now, if you wanted to, you could do red, bed. But most of the time, you're on the floor and reaching the floor. And how far can you reach? You know, it takes a long time. You're teaching rhyming. You're not teaching independent work here. Okay, here is shirt, skirt. What rhymes with shirt? Skirt. Shirt, skirt. What part rhymes? The ert. I would say that with the older fours. I wouldn't with the threes. I'd just say it. Kite, night. Kite, night. And if they have to, you could explain what this was. It's dark time and you see the moon and the stars, so it is night. Kite and night, they rhyme. Okay, do you see the difference in that? And you would only do, you're not doing both of these on the same day. They're different days. And it doesn't matter if it's puzzles. Now you could lay it down as a puzzle the second time. The trouble is we don't have enough time. We can't lay down all the red dots first before class starts.
It usually look like 4 or 5 with pairs.
So like right here,
Because that is a lot to do.
It is.
so this is.
Especially when you have 3 other books to do besides that.
Right. So you just go through it and
Yeah,
teach
that's
it.
how I was
Back of
always
the
told.
page.
Around like 4.
It'll say, what's wrong?
I would do as many as you could. I mean, if you're not having to lay them out,
What's wrong?
if you were just going through it, you build up more of that rhyming skill. Now this one had more than that one, so you might break this one into half. But when are you going to do it again? Are you going to remember which half you did? So you're only doing one of them, but you're doing 4 of these things. So then I have go-togethers.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, and remember, I'm teaching, not checking to see if the children know it. So here is scissors. What can go with scissors? You use paper with scissors, don't you? Scissors and paper. Scissors goes with paper. Here is a drum. You play the drum, it makes a noise. So a drum goes with drumsticks. The drumsticks hit the drum. They may not know that. I mean, they may not have seen a drum before. And this one they may never have seen, so you may have to explain what this is. This is a mask that you put on your face if you're going under the water very deep, usually in the ocean where there's lots of waves. And this goes in your mouth. I've never used it.
Yeah, snorkel.
A snorkel. It goes in your mouth so you can be facing the water and you can still breathe. I've always wanted to do this, but haven't done it. So what goes with the mask and the snorkel would be, now are they going to know? No, they're not going to know. Look, flippers. They go on your feet to help you swim in the water. So a mask and a snorkel goes with flippers. So we're learning vocabulary. This is a playpen. You put a baby in it sometimes so they can stay and not get into stuff. And like everything that you do, if you say this is a playpen, you're going to have this child saying, my mother has a playpen and my sister doesn't want to stay in it and she cries and we take her out. I mean, you're going to have a story after a story, no matter what it is that you're showing. Ignore it and just keep right on going. Because you don't have time to acknowledge all these stories that are going on. And they are. And what goes with a playpen? A baby. A baby can go in the playpen. This is a chalkboard. You write on a chalkboard, don't you? What goes with a chalkboard is an eraser and chalk. This is a football. A football goes with a football helmet. You wear it on your head to keep you safe so you don't get hurt. These are bowling pins. It's a game that people play. A bowling pin goes with a bowling ball. You roll the ball and try to hit the bowling pins. This is a basketball. Now they may know basketball. This is a basketball. It goes with a hoop. You try to put it in the hoop and get it all the way through the basket. A basketball and a hoop. These are paints, and paintbrush goes with the paints. Now let's see if we can do these. And we're doing them again immediately. Scissors goes with paper. Drum goes with drumsticks. A snorkel and a mask goes with flippers. A playpen goes with a baby. A chalkboard goes with chalk and eraser. A football goes with a helmet. Bowling pins go with a bowling ball. A basketball goes with a hoop. And paints go with a paintbrush. Now, you have to be careful that you're holding it and that you can move it promptly. It's better if you can glance and then look at the kids while you're doing it. I was looking too much at the cards. Make sure I was getting the right one. You see, it doesn't take that much time, and going through it the second time is where you get in the learning. The first time you don't get the learning. They're going, what? I've never seen that, talking to themselves. The second time you go through it right away, then they're beginning to see how those things go together.
Miss Davis, what if we put it, would it be okay if instead of putting it right here, we did have the card facing you, like this is a basketball, the basketball goes with the basketball hoop, and then when you pick it up to do it again, then they're in order again to put it back into the, you're putting them on the rug instead.
It's a time thing. You can try it and see. Because the time is the big element here. How much more time does it take to get through? So I'd say that would be fine if you can do it. And if you're sitting on the floor, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a chair, it's a little harder.
Yeah. Are we supposed to sit in a chair on the floor? I've always sat on the floor. I find it more.
I started out sitting in a chair, and then I was told that it's better for the kids to be on the level of sitting on the floor.
That's how I've always sat on the floor, just because I feel like when they see me sitting on the floor, they're like, "Well, this is gonna be fun. She's on the floor," instead of.
I was told
directing.
to start do it on the floor, start on the floor, and move into a chair.
I always sit in a chair. I feel like they recognize I'm the teacher in the chair. And plus, well, many years ago, I could have sat on the floor. But I would always sit in the chair. So I say whatever you want to do.
There's not like a rule.
Not that I know of. And I don't know everything. So here we have opposites. And always make sure that your cards are ready to go. So often you pick them up out of the teaching bucket and they're not going to be in order. I had to go through and get them all in order. Well, that's the way it ought to be. That's the way they are. And you need to know that you've got them ready to go. You don't have time to say, now where is the picture that goes with this? Because the minute you stop talking to the kids, then they start talking to themselves. And not just talking. If it was talking, we could handle that. It's the other stuff. All right, we're doing opposites. This little girl is wet. Sometimes, she looks a little fat too.
Yeah.
This little girl is wet because it's raining on her. See? When you're in the rain, you get wet. Now she's wet, but if she's not wet, she must be Dry. Look, she's got her umbrella and she's dry under the umbrella now.
And a raincoat.
So the opposite of wet is dry. This person is asleep. If you're not asleep, you are awake. The opposite of asleep is awake. This car is on the bridge. The car is on the bridge. Opposite of on the bridge is under the bridge. The opposite of on is under.
Over.
Over.
The opposite of on is
Maybe
off.
over the water. The car is going over the water or over the.
Over
on
the,
the top.
It would have to be over the
It'll
bridge.
be over.
over the bridge.
The car is driving
Over the bridge. Yeah, true.
The boat
Or the
is
people are driving
under the
over
bridge.
the
Does it say,
bridge.
usually have the written on the back.
No,
I want to say
It
I
should
have
probably
that.
say
it says orange
I wanna say
teaching
For most of
bucket
the
ride.
shelf work, it is written on the back. That was the top.
So here we have under. These are old cards.
Yes, they are.
They're very old cards.
I kind of like when they're simple and like the kids still understand it.
This boy is standing. If he's not standing, he must be sitting. The opposite of stand is sit. This little girl is happy, or it's a boy, I don't know. If you're not happy, you must be sad. The opposite of happy is sad. Now let's see if we can do them fast. The opposite of wet is dry. The opposite of asleep is awake. The opposite of over is under. The opposite of stand is sit. The opposite of happy is sad. The first time through is long. The second time you go through very fast. And then I have the same, these are all opposites, but these are puzzles. But we did puzzles before, so you see how you're just going to hold the card up and go. You don't have to put them down. It takes too long to do a puzzle in a circle. By this time, this circle has been forever, and you are ready to go. And now we have what's wrong. And this, I'll tell you, this first one puzzled me. All right, you've probably seen the picture, but I had never seen this picture, and I was thinking, what is this?
What a doctor said. Is that a doctor?
There's a shower
A
cap.
shower cap?
He's wearing a shower cap, and I
Yeah,
thought,
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
but you've got to explain, this is a fire extinguisher in his hand. Now, does this look like a fireman's clothes? Not to me, it did.
Oh, yeah.
With the reflective.
Yeah, it looks fine with clothes.
Okay, fireman's clothes to you. It didn't look like fireman's. I don't know.
As well.
I couldn't figure out what this was. This didn't make any sense. I said, well, it's a fire extinguisher. But I've never seen this as part of the fire extinguisher
Yeah, that's
either.
supposed to be on the fire extinguisher. He was maybe just real pretty.
it's a
And they just wanted
hose.
to give him a job, and he didn't understand it.
It's got a tube, like a hose going from the extinguisher.
Yeah,
to the
I
nozzle.
know.
Oh, that is wrong.
Okay,
There's
but
a lot wrong with it.
but what's really wrong is he's wearing a shower cap.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I went and I talked to my husband. I said, well, that's a fire extinguisher, isn't it? But is that what you have on a fire extinguisher? He said, yes. But he agreed that wasn't necessarily the way we saw firemen. And all right, so we've all discussed this picture thoroughly for what's wrong.
Dissected it. You
Yes.
this box, you know what to do. This bucket.
All right, look at this picture here. These children are listening to the teacher tell a story. What's wrong with this picture? Yes, she is, isn't she? And this is a child that I let the children try to tell me what's wrong.
So
See if
make
they
sure
can figure
we're
it
not
out.
doing that work on the switch on today.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't see very well to begin with, but it's from here, it looks like she's wearing white jeans and a button-up shirt.
Like regular shorts.
Yeah, and it looks like she's holding a painting.
She's reading a book, or she's looking at posters or something, a flip book. That's what she's got, a flip book. Okay, if you can't see that very clearly, how about the children?
Yeah.
Do you see why you have to describe what's in the picture to the children? Because they can't, and their vision is not as good as ours is. So you can say, here's the children on the floor, here's the teacher, and she's holding a book to show the children these pictures. Can you tell what's wrong in here? And so maybe they can and maybe they can't. I had to think a minute about this. Well, she shouldn't be wearing pajamas. And if they don't get it, explain it to them. Now this one I got right away. I think they get this, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if the threes would or not. They don't usually see their mother doing this.
I know kids don't see homemade bread.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, they would say, well, look at her. What's she doing? She's trying to cut this loaf of bread. But do you use a saw to cut a loaf of bread?
That's how hard the bread is.
No, you use a knife, don't you? She should use a knife. Look at this little boy. He looks like he's on the beach. Looks like the beach. Could be his rug. And he's trying to put on his socks. But there's something wrong with this picture. Can you tell what's wrong with what the little boy is doing?
His socks are too
His
big.
dad's socks.
They're too big, aren't they? Are they his socks?
No.
And where can you find his socks in this picture?
There it is in the corner.
There they are. He's got the wrong socks, doesn't he? And here's a man.
Irony.
He's ironing.
Well, just that right
That's
there.
women.
Yeah. Ironing means that you have something that you wanted to make smooth. It got all wrinkled. Sometimes when you wash clothes, they're all wrinkled. And you have to get this hot iron and it makes it smooth again and it looks pretty. So you can iron your shirt or your pants sometimes. But what is he ironing?
A hat.
A hat. We would never iron a hat, would we?
No.
A hat goes on your head. Here's a lady. She's at home and she wants to play a program on her computer. So,
I was gonna say they're not gonna do that one, I don't think.
I don't think they will either.
I can't even see what she's doing. I can see the computer,
And-
but I don't know.
See right here? She's gonna put the CD in here, but instead of a CD, look what she's got in her hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a cookie.
Oh.
It's a cookie.
Yeah, that looks like her hand.
Some
Her
kind of
hair.
food.
Like it looks like part of her hand.
Yeah.
So you see how important it is to show the kids. When you're up close, you can see it.
We'll go to the eye doctor after this lesson. I thought it was watching out the bagel.
I got my first one.
Well, I'm supposed to wear glasses, but I keep losing them.
All right, let's look at this picture. Here's a family. Here's the mother, here's the dad, here's the child, there's two of them, and they're watching TV. Can you tell what's wrong with this picture?
Is the TV upside down?
The TV is upside down. You don't watch your picture upside down, do you? No, you turn it around.
The TV's tiny.
It is tiny.
Now.
Not 60.
And it's not on the wall.
Look at this one. Here's a lady. Do you know what she's doing? She's got her lipstick on right here. And do you know where you put lipstick? You put it on your lips. But what is she doing? She's putting it on her nose, isn't she? Do you put lipstick on your nose? No, it goes on your lips. And I'm sure you can't see this one from far away.
Did she cut it like a pizza?
She's making a sandwich. This lady is making a
But she put,
sandwich.
like, it's a picture, a photo picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
she's got
that's
her
like-
bread here, and then she got lettuce, and she's got tomatoes. But look what she put on her sandwich. She put a picture. Is she gonna put a picture in her sandwich? No, you don't eat pictures, do you? So that's wrong. What's wrong in this picture? She's put a picture on her sandwich. Here's a man, he's going to paint a room for his little girl. And she wanted a purple room. But what is he doing?
Painting the glass.
He's painting the glass. Do you paint the windows and the glass? No, you paint the walls. Now let's see if we can do it. What's wrong in this picture? The shower cap. What's wrong here? The pajamas. And what's wrong? She's got a sock. And this little boy, what is her wrong? Socks are wrong. And the man that's ironing, he should not iron a hat. What's wrong with this lady? The cookie in her computer. And this man and his family are
Watching it
but
upside down.
upside down. And this lady
Put a lipstick on her nose.
not put it on her nose. And this one making a sandwich,
Take a picture.
not put a picture in your sandwich. And what's wrong with the last one? Do not paint your windows. Those were pictures I had never seen before.
Yeah.
They were very
An
interesting.
adventure.
That's orange box one, right?
Yeah.
Very used to it.
And then there's the old ones right here that we have. So. But no matter what it is, you've got to do the same thing. Explain the picture to them and then ask them what's wrong. And then go back through and see if they can still remember it, because it's a lot to remember. So what do we have left? Sizes. What time is it? Well, we might get through sizes. I like this one. No, it doesn't have a zipper bag.
I would like to change it out.
It's interesting that you have a lot of new things that I haven't seen before.
Again, these books were made like 9 years ago.
Well, it's been a long time since I've done preschool. All right, now let's look at some buttons here. I have this button right here. It looks big, doesn't it? This button is big. Another word for big is large. So I'm going to put the large thing right here. Probably I would do it the other way around.
Do you need to have them all out there so that they can compare to know which one is the large one?
If you're teaching virtual.
Yeah, if I'm teaching first, I'm going to just show it to them. Okay, so here is the button, and this button is little, or another word, small. This button is small. I'm going to put it there. Then here's another button. This button is not the smallest. It's bigger, isn't it? Bigger than that one. And then here is a bigger one. So is this one the big one? No. This one is the middle size. And then here's the large one. All right, I did not practice this lesson. I would not do it that way. I would do it this way.
I would do
Do
big,
small,
middle.
and then large, and then say, this is not the biggest, it's not the littlest, it is middle sized. So they're using small, medium, and large, but I would say middle sized. Little, big, middle sized, or small, large, middle sized. It's not the smallest, it's not the biggest, it's the middle sized. And middle sized is very hard for kindergartners.
Well, and it's what we learned, so that terminology is better than we did, because we don't learn it.
So,
Right,
We don't do middle,
right.
we do middle size.
Middle sized.
I have a lot of kids that say, this one's the daddy, this one's the mommy, and this one's the baby. I
Well,
don't
it's-
teach that, but I have a lot that say that.
I always teach them the
They probably learned that in a previous class.
medium, medium, the middle.
Middle size. They have to pass on. Not coming in kindergarten, but at the end of the year, they have to.
Middle sized. But we could learn medium. I mean, it's another word, but it's not the largest. The biggest thing is you're saying it's not the largest, it's not the smallest, it's the middle sized. And then, oh, these were such good cards here. So then we have jingle bells. So here is a small bell, and here is the large bell. And this one is not the smallest, it's not the largest, it is middle sized. And I would say middle sized to start with. After you've done that a while, you could switch to medium. Not the smallest and not the largest. And you can't tell if you have one bell by itself, you don't know whether it's large, small, or middle sized. You can only have middle sized if you've got two more that you're going to compare it with. Because if you just have two, you have small and large. But middle size can only be used if you've got three, at least three things. And this will make it easier if you had it where you could just take off the top. And I would put these out of sight or else, you know. And then what do we have next? Oh, these little things. Here are some erasers. This one is small. It's a very small one. You can hardly hold it. I'll put it first because it's a little one. And this one is big, large. And this is not the smallest, and it's not the biggest. It is middle sized. We have small, middle sized, large. Say it. Small, middle sized, large. These are dice. They may not know this. You play a game with these. There's a lot of games you use with a dice. It has dots on the sides of it, and you can count the dots. This is a small one. This is a large one. This one is not the smallest, and it's not the largest. It is middle sized. We have small, middle sized, large. Say it. Small, middle sized, large. Good. And then I would probably put it away. By now you think circle is lasting forever and ever and ever. And this one is the same thing, but it's got pictures that are small, middle sized, and large. And the large picture is really large. And after you've done these for I mean, not necessarily this step, but as the year goes by and you practice small, middle size, and large, then you might start with, here is a dice, and if they haven't seen it before. Is it small, middle sized, or large? They don't know, do they? And I say, you can't tell, can you? Well, suppose the class agrees it is large. Say, okay, it's large, so what is this one?
Larger.
Larger. It's really large. Now this one is large and this one is
Middle size.
small. Large and small, because we have only two, large and small. If they said it was the small one, then I would have put out the small one. Then they would say, now it's the big one. So it depends on relative what you've got it to. And then if I put out this one, I would say, now what? Where would it go? It's the small one. So now this one is middle size. So they can see that it depends on what you've got that you're comparing it to. I saw a thing on TV the other day about a girl who was a runner. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. Anyway, she was doing some amazing running. She was just turned 13. And her nickname was Tiny. That's what they called her. I don't know where my bag went to. Somewhere.
On the top of your reminder.
Yeah. And I thought, well, she doesn't look so tiny. I don't know why they gave her that name. And then you saw her running with the other 13 and 14-year-old girls. And there was this much difference in them. She was the size of they said a 7 or an 8-year-old. So you can't tell how big somebody is or small unless there's something to compare it to. So then I could see where she got the name Tiny. All right, we didn't get through except everything that we were supposed to have done yesterday. So I don't know what we'll get done today, but hopefully, well, look at this. This actually fits in the bag. All right.
We did.
We got a lot of different things done.
And that's
Oh, forgot these.
And some organizations, I was supposed to tell you that 3 people won't be there until right at 1 o'clock. Okay.
Friday?
No, tomorrow. It's for.
Well, we'll just start at 1. There's no point.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah. Well, we'll never get through everything for tomorrow then, but
I'm okay to stay till 5. I don't know everybody else is.
I can stay until 5, but I have to leave right after Troy does taekwondo.
well, those that can stay will stay because probably what we've got to do is finish bucket work. I'm sure we won't get that done. I just put that at the end today because it's a lot more fun than this other stuff. Just like a lot of stuff. Okay.